Give me 1 second. All right, what is up, everybody? My name is Chris. This is the Crazy Scary Cool podcast. I'm with my boy Josh. How you doing today, my dog?
Doing well. Can't complain.
So yeah, we just gonna discuss NFL Week 14. Well, I guess Week 13 and going into 14, and yeah, let's just get into it. So I have a couple questions, but I guess what are your thoughts just about this past weekend?
Well, I didn't really see a lot of the games and what happened. My focus really was to watch the Eagles and 49ers game.
Yeah.
I saw before I get to that, just looking at the other games, I did see the Chiefs loss, which I thought was interesting. They lost Sunday Night Football. That was Patrick Mahomes' first game in Green Bay. Um, the Chargers won. I saw 6-0, which is an indictment on both teams. I mean, I don't know why the coach is still there. That's something that I can't stand. But also, just to go to the Thursday game real quick, the Seahawks lost to the Cowboys. We talked about that game before. Before the game, I told you that I thought the Seahawks would win. I thought they was gonna play hard. They did show up. But they gave the Cowboys, I felt like, every opportunity. And they just showed that, you know what, down the stretch, they're not gonna be able to do anything because they got the 49ers next, and then they got the Eagles, and then they got a bunch of other good teams. So the Seahawks did it to themselves. I don't want to hear nothing about the Seahawks for the rest of the season. The Lions won on the road. I mean, tough game. I know, they're a good team. The Jets won. They should win against the Jets. I mean, the Falcons won against the Jets. Jets suck, and their coach should get fired. I don't like the Jets at all, or the field. No wonder it was 13-8. And then the Cardinals, Steelers. I mean, I don't know. Steelers is just not a good team to me. They're 7-5. They're not a good team. The Colts won again. They beat a bad team. They're 7-5. They beat the Titans. They're not a good team to me. And then Commanders again play horrible against everyone else except for the Eagles. They get routed at home. So you got Texans winning the close game. They're a good team. They got a quarterback. And Panthers lost again, 1-11. Number one pick goes to the Bears, so it's irrelevant. And then the Rams won. Good for them. And then, of course, you got the big game, which was the Eagles getting routed by the 49ers. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this game. Obviously, the Eagles lost the game. I said that the Eagles was probably going to lose this game. I'm not going to get into the actual game itself because, to me, the game itself does not matter at all. What happened on the field does not matter at all, other than motivation for the Eagles if they played them again. I don't believe the 49ers will beat them again because I saw enough to show that they could beat them. But the real key to this is the Eagles played 3 games in 14 days. 3 games in 14 days. That was the Chiefs, the Bills, they went to overtime, and then the 49ers. 3 great physical teams. The Bills were desperate, went to overtime. And then the 49ers in 14 days played 1 game. 1 game. And that's including the Thursday night Thanksgiving game. So they had a week, they had 10 days to prepare for the Eagles game. So the scheduling has been horrible. They're giving the Cowboys the same thing where they're going to have extra time to play the Eagles. And then the Seahawks is going to get the same thing too going in next week. So, I mean, they've really like grinded out every game this season. There's been no blowouts. And this could be a point in the season where they could break down. When you think about last season, going all the way to the Super Bowl and then coming back this season and facing all these hard games, none of these games were easy, all dog fights. You're going to lose a game like that to the 49ers. You can't be down 10 points and expect at halftime and expect to keep coming back in all these games against teams like the 49ers. They have too many pieces, and we saw it. They had too many pieces. We saw in the first quarter how it looked when they didn't want to run the ball, and they just tried to throw it with Brock Purdy, and it was, looked like it was going to be, could be a wipeout. And then they decided to just show all the plays that they got and make you think about all of them. And they don't have the defensive guys to get it. Now they got Shaq Leonard. I don't know what to expect from that. He's not necessarily a guy that's great in coverage, but he is excellent at getting turnovers. So if he's healthy and by playoff time, I'm not saying really the regular season because I was give him a couple games. We got 5 games left. By playoff time, if he's anything like he can be not last year, he was hurt all year, but the year before that with the Colts and every year before that, then that is a huge upgrade for the Eagles going in the stretch if the defense can get it together. But I have no faith that they're going to get it together. So the way I look at it right now, um, they still have everything in front of them, but based on what I've seen this last week, I think the 49ers are head and shoulders the best team in football. I mean, the Eagles are about as tough as a team you could possibly have as far as like physicality, the elements, and the in at Philadelphia. But I'm gonna go in there and to win. And I know they had that mark since the NFC Championship game. That was their Super Bowl. So it was like the Cowboys game. Those two games were their Super Bowls, and they played excellent. And I give them all the credit in the world. I don't think that means anything as far as the playoffs, but I think they could still lose in the first round if it came down to it. Like I don't really, I believe in them, but I don't really believe in them. But the 49ers are the best team in football, and until proven otherwise, looking at their schedule, they're going to likely win out to get the number one seed. The Eagles can't lose two more. They can't lose to the Cowboys for sure, and then they can't drop one to the Seahawks or the Giants twice, or there's another bad or the Cardinals. They have to beat all those teams. So it's going to come down to whoever has that number one seed, really. And for the AFC and the Chiefs for this week, for them to lose in Green Bay, that's a little bit of a shocker because you would
Yeah,
think
I'm with you. That's a bad loss. But yo, before I get to the Chiefs game, because that was a really bad loss, I do want to say about the 49ers and Eagles, I will say you do bring up a great point that the 3 games in 14 days. And to be honest, I'm in agreement with you about that. I don't think this game means too much. It's a great win for the 49ers. Excellent win. They came in, did business. But I'm on record as saying that I thought that y'all gonna split the Chiefs and Bills game. So the fact that y'all even came out with both of those, to be honest, I feel like that says way more about you than this loss does. It's hard to go 16-1. That's hard to do. You kind of need like an easy schedule or injuries or just like to really beat everyone's ass like the '07 Patriots. So it's hard to do. So I'm not even like if I were an Eagles fan, I would much rather be, well, and this is kind of obvious, drop a couple games, but be ready for the Super Bowl than to give it all out, win 16-17, and flame out. Because the 49ers kind of had to win this game. Y'all, in my eyes, and I'm speaking just totally objectively, I think y'all already solidified yourselves. In my opinion, I feel like y'all have had the toughest schedule in football. Even like I'm not sure what the strength of schedule is in record. I mean, maybe a bad team has had a tougher schedule, but I can't think of a competitive team that has had as tough as a schedule as y'all. So I would say that, yeah, I think that they needed it much more. I wouldn't rule out that the 49ers could win again, but I'm not going to sit here and say that the 49ers are 23 points better. That's just like, that's not going to happen again. I think the next game would be much, much, much closer. Um, but with the Shaq Leonard acquisition, honestly, like, and you brought it up, the 49ers, like, you don't, that's a cool acquisition. All the pass rushers are cool, but they need help in that back four. Like they need someone who can cover. AJ Brown led like he had 114 yards. So I mean, a lot of it came early in the game, but 114 yards is still a lot to give up. So like I think that if they're gonna lose, it's gonna be because like they're not gonna be able to cover. And I want to say I think the Cowboys could get them. The only reason why Brandon Cooks is coming on as of late. He's been playing well. If he can look like Brandon Cooks 2 years ago and just be that second threat, really, the Cowboys have three good passing options. CD, of course. Brandon Cooks he's a rising in Jake Ferguson. If Brandon Cooks, if he can play at a high level, that could be enough that they could pick apart like the 49ers weakness. So I wouldn't rule that out. And then with y'all got Dallas Goedert coming back, possibly Zach Ertz. Have y'all signed him yet? Or
No, they haven't signed him, but I wouldn't expect them to. I wouldn't expect them to, and I don't think he would really make much of an impact. I mean,
I'm with you.
I wouldn't expect them to. No.
I've heard like y'all want him back, but that wouldn't really move the needle too much. But Dallas Goedert, when healthy, is one of the and when utilized. I feel like at times early in the year when he was healthy, he was a little bit underutilized.
What?
Which I get it. At some point, there's only so much ball to go around, but he's talented, man. Like, so he's someone that I think that it would behoove y'all to get him involved. But yeah, I feel like a team with a third wide receiver could give the 49ers like a lot of trouble, you know. And I think the Cowboys could do that, and possibly y'all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that goes kind of under the bridge, but the Dallas Goddard not being in that game is huge because they didn't have a tight end. And even if you look at the all 22 and some of the plays, there was a lot of plays where the tight end was open, but Jalen's not looking at him because he's not expecting him to, and obviously the defense is not expecting if it's not being called to him, he's not going to be looking at him if he's open.
Yeah,
If the first two reads is there, he kind of want to see it. So, um, Dallas Goddard being back is going to be huge, and yeah, Shaq Leonard getting in the defense would be big. Defense, the defensive backs are just not they're just not that good. I mean,
with San Francisco or Philly.
the Philadelphia. I mean, James Bradbury.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a stat that said that when he was covering someone and they threw it, like he didn't allow anything on his side of things.
Mhm.
The whole they called him trash. Like, well, he did his job in the game, but they give up too many. They just give up too many plays. I mean,
Yeah,
they give up too many plays. At this point, this season, you look at all the teams they played. Those quarterbacks went off.
they
Like,
really did.
I
They
mean, Mac
really did.
Jones looks like the worst. He looks like the 38th best quarterback in the league right now, and he went off. Every Sam Howell, looked like a Hall of Fame. Like everyone has had a good game for the most part, except I can't even really say. Yeah, everyone's looked good. Even Matt Stafford and the Rams. Those first two
They were
drives.
bad.
I mean, he was hitting everything. Cooper Cup had 100 yards in the first quarter.
He
Um,
did. He did.
so they were, they've looked bad all year. And Kevin Byard is a huge upgrade. I mean, I can imagine I'm still having Terrell Edmonds out there right now. Josiah Scott. I mean, thank God that we have Kevin Byard, but at the same time, he's getting old. He looks old. Like he's not that fast, and he's guarding these tight ends, but he's also getting beat. I mean, sometimes he's getting them, sometimes he's getting beat. So they got a lot to work on, but I would say that the 49ers, they're the best team. I mean, there's just too many people you got to account for, and if Brock Purdy is able to get the guys open, I mean, you know,
Yeah, they are a complete team. I mean, I guess it is fair to say that the 49ers are the best team beating y'all, but I I just would not rule out that the Eagles could win a second game against y'all if y'all play. Um because also, I mean, I guess what really becomes tough is that with them, you can't just like stack the run because they have so many misdirections, and then Debo is just so dynamic and breaks so many tackles. It's really just like what they can do, like after the catch, the yards after the catch, like breaking tackles that makes them so dangerous. Because conceivably, yeah, like y'all have the best run D in the league. So even though CMC did have a good game, but yeah, y'all could conceivably take the run game away. But then, like with Debo on end rounds, or he had like kind of like a reverse that I think he scored on. I mean, that's asking a lot of your corners to tackle Debo on the edge. So it's like you do have to kind of pick your poison. Like you don't CMC's the best running back in the game, so you have to account for him. But like asking corners to tackle Debo, is a lot. So yeah, the Shanahan does a lot of putting pressure on the defense. I really think, man, the only way that you can really beat them, damn, man, I really have to think about that. And not saying there's some perfect team, but what do you think?
well, I think that the biggest thing going into this game, like, again, I'm not making any excuses for the Eagles. Their defense in the Bills game played over 90 snaps. You can't play 90 snaps and then expect
True.
that same energy for 4 quarters against a team that physical in the 49ers. And they came with it in the first quarter, which was predictable because that's how he
Yeah.
would start. But then as the game goes on, you get a little tired. Second quarter was a completely different game. I personally stopped watching some point in the second quarter. Like I couldn't even really give it
Mm.
the energy anymore because I already knew it was going to happen. So
Mhm.
I didn't even see any of the touchdowns. I saw the scores, but I didn't pay attention to what was going on. I did see that Jalen threw for over 300 yards, well, close to 300 yards. But uh, the way to stop them is what the Eagles have, except the one thing that they have missing is the one thing that they're not gonna have, which is they have the outside pieces to cover, be able to
Mhm.
cover in theory to cover
Yeah,
the receivers. You can put Kevin Byard on the tight end, but now you
right.
have no one that can stop CMC, and that's the X factor because they don't
Yeah,
have a linebacker. Zach Cunningham didn't play, but even if Zach Cunningham played, it wouldn't have made a difference. Zach Cunningham is like 35. He's having a great season for his age,
yeah,
and being signed late, and he's been great in pass coverage too, which has been really surprising. But he can't cover CMC in the backfield, an open field. N'Kobe Dean can't stay healthy, so he's not even a fact. Even if he was, he's horrible in coverage, which is why they were trying to trade for a linebacker in a trade deadline. And then Nicholas Morrow, we saw what happened. So he's the reason why Shaq Leonard is now on the team, because we saw that would be the ideal matchup because he's athletic enough and he
yeah.
was good in the pass coverage for the Bears last year. And he did come into the season. First of all, he signed with the Eagles early in free agency and then didn't make the team initially and got
Mm.
cut and was on a practice squad. But when Kobe Dean got hurt, they brought him
Mhm.
back and he was playing excellent. He had like one game, he had like 11, 13 tackles. He had a forced fumble. He was crazy in that game. And
Mhm.
he's been playing great, but then he got exposed in this game. And that's just the difference. CMC is that good. You can't have a guy like Nicholas Morrow trying to guard him, or, you could try to like stack or double him and then hope everyone gets one-on-one, but then that's also dicey.
Yeah.
Also doing all these misdirections. But I do think, just really answer your question, and this is something they brought up. I watched First Things First before the Chiefs Eagles game, and I thought this was funny when they were mentioning it. They were saying that the Eagles were gonna, or the Chiefs were gonna, because they both had a week off, they were gonna hold off on a play. There was gonna be a special play that they're both not gonna use specifically in that game because they may see them in the Super Bowl and they don't want them to have film on it. And it was just a joke, but obviously we didn't really see anything crazy. But for this game, this is great film for the Eagles to have to see, like, or how to like fix their mistakes. There's not much for the 49ers. They're gonna come in, whether it's in Philadelphia or in San Francisco, if they face each other again.
Mhm.
And it's going to be like, well, we know what we did. We're just going to do the same thing. We're better than them. The Eagles have a lot that they can work on and correct. And then having Dallas Goedert back obviously will help. And they also just need to run the ball. Like, the simplest
Yeah,
thing is, they're not running. They need to run the ball, but they also need to run the ball effectively. Like, they're not really running the ball well. And Cam Jurgens was really supposed to be the reason why they did run the ball well. And they did against the Bills, and they did against the Chiefs, but for whatever reason, they just didn't run the ball, against the 49ers. And it's not, I mean, I get they have a good front seven, but that's really what they did in the first quarter is really what they just have to just sustain that. But I think with rest, yeah, they can sustain that. So yeah, they have to make sure they get that number one seed. You
yeah,
can't afford to lose to the Cowboys. You can
yeah,
you can still lose to the Cowboys and win out and get the number one seed, but now you're likely facing of, do you win a division now? And then they can go from one seed to fifth seed, and Cowboys with the one seed, which again, it's not even that bad of a thing because you think
yeah,
about it, whoever has that fifth seed, they're going to be facing the NFC South and a wild card. So that's going to either be
yeah.
one of those three teams, however it shapes up in the end, and then that team is going to have to face
Mhm.
that other team instead of, whoever get that one seed won't have to face those two. They're going to have to face each other to face the one seed, which I think is the most, ideal situation for either one of those teams. If you're
Yeah,
Philadelphia, especially with the rest, you would rather just take the L and wait, face the Cowboys in round two, and then face the 49ers or something
yeah.
like that. But, and obviously you don't want to play three games in that, to two. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be,
I'm thinking now, I'm just hearing what you're saying, and this is going to be much easier said than done, but really just beating the 49ers, one, you have to contain CMC. Like whether that's him out the backfield, whether him as a receiver, stopping the run, you have to do that. But also, you have to win those one-on-ones. You can't, like when Debo scored that one touchdown, it went for can't remember how many yards it went, but he broke a tackle. You have to tackle in space. You have to make those tackles. You have to cover. You have to win the one-on-ones because if you start doubling guys, like that's I mean that's risky. I'm actually a fan of doubling good players, but a team like San Francisco, I wouldn't double at all. You have to just put that pressure on your defense. You have to tackle. You can't give up yards after the catch. Guys have to. You can't let guys fall forward. You have to win those one-on-ones. Like if Kevin Byard is on George Kittle, he has to win that matchup. Of course, like you're gonna give up yards, but you can't give up yards after the catch. You can't let guys break tackles. You have to make tackles in space. That's how you have to beat them. There isn't if you're stacking the run to take away CMC. I mean, like you said, you have the guys on the outside that conceivably could cover Ayuk and Debo. Even though y'all haven't played well, then George Kittle on Bayard, now it's a one-on-one matchup. You have to be able to make those tackles and force Brock Purdy to, methodically take you down the field. I do, I'm probably higher on Brock Purdy than most. I know you just think he's average. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. If he was on a different team with not as many weapons, would he be as successful? No. But I think that he is playing at a higher level than what Jimmy Garoppolo had them playing at. I think that he is not holding the offense back. In a way, I think he's everything that Kirk Cousins isn't. That he's just not getting in their way. They don't feel like he is an impediment. Now, of course, if you put like Justin Herbert on this offense or Lamar Jackson, it would be, obviously he would take them to a higher level. But with him as their quarterback, he's not holding them back. He
Justin
is they're
Fields.
meeting. What's up?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields, any other talented quarterback. So when I say that he's good, I just feel like he is allowing them to reach their potential with what he can do. But yeah, with the 49ers, but you have to, like you were saying, that they were throwing the ball and it wasn't effective. And I was reading an article. Initially, the Eagles had two high safeties and they were taking away the deep throws. And Shanahan, not Brock Purdy, I'm gonna give Shanahan the credit, made adjustments on the fly. I'm not gonna try and get lost on all the X's and O's, but pretty much he made an adjustment on the fly to that two man, and they made that run that they did. But I feel like you have to win those one on ones, and whether that's them taking shots down the field, you have to tackle in space, and you have to make Brock Purdy drop back and methodically beat you. If you're letting them if they're getting end arounds and jet sweeps and they're getting 4, 5, 6 yards a carry, if CMC is getting 3, 4, 5 yards, if guys are falling forward, the offense is moving. But if you're getting no gains, if those jet sweeps are going for like maybe a 1 yard, and now it's 2nd and 9, and you're asking Brock Purdy to drop back against still a very good pass rush. Now, even though I do believe in him, that is how I think you're going to win. Like when you look at those games and get that 3 game losing streak. Now, Debo was injured, so that hurt the game plan, but Brock was dropping back to throw, and he kind of had to win those games. Again, I think he's good, but I don't think he's carried the team on the back, drop back 45 times a good, like win without a play action, win without guys getting yards after the catch. I don't think he's good to that level. So maybe that's where the disconnect is with people, that when I say that he's good, they think that he can just drop back 45 times a game and win you a game. I'm not saying that. I would live with that if I'm playing against the 49ers. But I do think that he is a productive quarterback in this system.
Yeah, he is. I give him all the credit in the world. And I give a lot of credit to the schedule makers for scheduling this game when they did, because they knew that this is, they really care about their rating so much, and they made sure that they got the Eagles playing this little murderous row towards the end of the year. At all these back-to-back games where they're not
Yep.
really getting any rest at all, and all these other teams are getting, Thursday games and then 4 days rest and all this stuff. I'm hoping that the Eagles can just get through these next two by just winning them. The Cowboys game is a must win because, you know, the disrespect is ridiculous. And I understand that 49ers deserving, not, I don't know if it was deservingly, but Vegas had them favored to win. They win, they won. They won by a lot. Now they're underdogs again and losing Dallas, and I know Dallas has a streak at home and all that stuff. And I don't think this is a game where the Eagles are so angry that they're just going to go in there and just blow the Cowboys out. But we know it's at stake. I mean, the Cowboys know it's at stake. This can go two ways for the Eagles, really. I mean, at this point in the season, they have to win this game. I mean, this isn't win the game, but then you can still get the number one seed and everything will be all good. No, because if you lose to the Cowboys and 49ers and the playoffs come, if you face them again, that's not good for you to feel if you know that you lost. Now, again, no, yeah, you can lose to the Cowboys, maybe still get the number one seed and you split. So it's good because it's kind of hard to beat a team 3 times. But just a scenario that you kind of got yourself in, and the schedule makers, you got to win the game. Even if you have the best record all year and you're 10-1, 10-2 now, you got to win this game. And you know that this is going to be a 3-team race to the number one seed.
Yeah, so speaking of the Cowboys, I do, even though they won against Seattle, I do want to give you credit because you did pick Seattle to win. But one thing I wanted to that I noticed. They won, but that defense got exposed a little bit. And not even just because they gave up 35 points, but sometimes like good teams, this is the first good team that you could say. Seattle is not one of the best teams in the league. They may be in that second, maybe third tier, depending on how you rank them. But they're a good team. They're a solid team. But
Solid.
one thing that I noticed is that Geno Smith and those receivers, they attack that defense. Like they weren't passive. Like sometimes, like some teams, like the Cowboys, man up, and teams a little bit passive, don't always have time to throw. But Geno went down the field. They attacked this defense. So I don't know if it's maybe they just had a good game. Maybe Seattle is a little bit better than what we gave them credit for. Maybe it was a Thursday. But I mean, this is San Francisco played really well against them. Philly played really well, and now Seattle. So they've definitely like blown out some bad teams. But maybe now Bland, he did, get another interception. He redeemed himself a little bit. But listen, that defense, like they were very aggressive. And so maybe there is that blueprint because I still feel like Dallas is top two defense, either them or Cleveland. Who's better than Dallas? I don't think there's a lot of great defenses in the NFL today. So I'm
So
not
to
saying they're
me,
like, yeah, who'd you say?
I would still take the 49ers over the Cowboys defense. I would,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
I would take the Chiefs defense over the Cowboys defense.
Hmm.
The
Only
Cowboys,
reason,
if
go
you,
ahead.
the Cowboys defense to me is just is okay. I mean, to me, the answer to that is the matchups. Really, I mean, we talked
Yeah,
about it before the game. DK Metcalf, I love Stephon Gilmore, but he can't stay with him all game and expect to just eat. So they obviously was going to have to put Bland on him at some point,
yeah,
and we saw how that happened. He's just too
yeah.
big. He's too physical. That's basically AJ Brown. And not to mention that, but we saw when the Cowboys were up three at halftime, and then the Eagles had the ball, and Jalen went over the top, and it was against Deron Bland. Now, good, I get he had good coverage, but I mean, there's no Trayvon Diggs there, and those
Yeah.
safeties get overhyped. They keep talking about these three-headed monsters as if they're like these Pro Bowl snipers. They're okay. They're good. And as far as that pass rush goes, it's Micah Parsons or bust.
True.
Marcus Lawrence is like Fletcher Cox right now. They've been doing it for a while. They're Ring of Honor, team Hall of Famer, potential Hall of Famers,
Yeah,
playing at a high level still. But I
yeah.
mean, they don't have the depth really. I mean, they drafted was it Mozzie Smith in the first round? Does he even play? I don't know.
I don't, not sure how much.
I don't know. I don't think so. So yeah, I mean, they're winning right now because of Dak. And I give Dak all the credit in the world
Yeah,
because he's throwing it. I've seen someone said he had his MVP moment when he broke out of a sack and threw for a first down.
I don't know about that, but
Um, they want to make him the MVP so damn bad. And I understand he said before the season he wasn't going to throw 10 picks, and I think he's at like 6 or something like that. And he threw like 3 and 1. So he's done a good job with the turnovers. That for whatever reason, every year they seem to have a very convenient schedule every season. I don't know. They keep saying it's a first place schedule, it's a second place schedule. I don't know. Every time I look, every year when they show the winning percentage of the team the Cowboys are going to be playing is always in the low 300s. So yeah, they haven't faced anybody, and the teams they're going to be facing, obviously the Eagles are going to be a problem passing the ball, but they still don't have Dallas Goddard, so that's still an issue because
yeah.
ideally Julio Jones would be sort of a Dallas Goddard body
Hmm.
type to
Forgot about
fill in that
Julio.
void, but he hasn't done anything.
Well,
I'm
he's on the injury report too already. I don't know how. I feel like he's barely played, but I saw y'all injury report and he was on there.
I mean, guys
He
got
didn't say
everything
injured.
locked all over the place from what I've heard. So I wouldn't be surprised if everyone's banged up because they've been grinding out all these games, and Julio's been getting minutes. But Quez Watkins just came back, but uh, the receivers for the Eagles, the Bills, no, not really, but they are going to be desperate, and we'll see how they look after the bye. I mean, they got to break at the right time too, but then they got to face
Yeah,
Kansas City. Kansas City just lost, so now they got to
yeah,
win. So we'll see how that goes, but likely Bills lose, which means they really, really got to beat the Cowboys. It's
yeah,
in Buffalo, so I think that could be a game that the Cowboys couldn't do. And then of
yeah.
course the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is going for that 2,000. He's
I'm going
500.
for that.
He gonna get it, and
I think, yeah. Man, so okay, so I will give you this. Now, I've always been pretty high on the Cowboys defense, but I do think a lot of that is matchup. I agree with you because when you look at those bad teams, they have receivers who just can't win one-on-ones or guys who are not very physical. And it's just like if we're playing Madden. If we're playing Madden, you have a bunch of 76 overalls and my corners are just good and faster than you. I'm just gonna go man, and then I'm gonna just trust my Michael Parsons to get a lot of pressure. So I feel like the defense becomes a lot simpler for them. Again, I feel like the Cowboys have a great defense against bad teams, but against good teams, teams that can actually scheme them, guys that can win one-on-ones, guys that are physical. I'm not saying that they're like are bad against them, but I'm not sure if that they're going to be getting like four turnovers that they've been getting and all these defensive touchdowns that they can just like shut a team down. So I agree with you that it is matchup based because I could see like Debo with his physicality. AJ Brown has already played well. Those guys having good games again because DK Metcalf is good. I don't know. I might take Brandon Ayuk over DK Metcalf right now. AJ Brown is obviously better at the moment. So I'm with you on that. Um,
And
the
also,
reason,
you got to think about Dan Quinn. His defense obviously won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks,
mhm,
got the Falcons to a Super Bowl.
yeah,
Now they're playing well here. Eh, One thing that does suck about defensive and offensive coordinators is that we know who you are, especially after some time, especially if you have
yeah,
a reputation. The Cowboys don't, like you said, their defense is very simple. Like everybody knows their defense. It's the
yeah.
Seahawks, it's the same Seahawks defense that won the Super Bowl in 2013. We know what they do is basically what cover two or cover three, something like
They
that.
ran just a cover three, just with Earl
Yeah,
Thomas
something
High.
like that. And it's based on the players. You got to have the guys, and they did have the guys when they had Trayvon Diggs, and when they had, I guess, Leighton Vander Esch a little bit, but without Trayvon Diggs, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, I'm 100% with you. And that's why before the season, I was like, yeah, this defense can be special. And I thought they could have made a Super Bowl run, but I feel like, yeah, 100% that if they have Trayvon Diggs, that defense, like even some of the best offenses, maybe the only team that may not have worked against is maybe the Dolphins, maybe just because they're just a hard team to man against. Um, and y'all too, because AJ Brown's that dude. I'm not going to end Devontae Smith. Y'all have guys who can win one-on-ones. But no, we're on the same page there. That without Trayvon Diggs, this offense is still good, but I thought they could have been special with Trayvon. So I'm with you. And I think that for them to make it out of the Super Bowl, man, either Dak is gonna have to play at a really high level, CD is gonna have to play at a high level, and Brandon Cooks to kind of overcompensate. Because I don't think they can do it on the defense. Like with the way they play, I think that they would not get exposed. I just don't think they're equipped without Trayvon Diggs to be a good team.
We should just wait in about Super Bowl talk with the Cowboys. Let's just wait about any kind of Super Bowl talk. I understand they have a good team to win the Super Bowl, but this is to me, as a lifelong NFC East observant, if you will, this is the same story every year.
It is. I mean, listen, we already know what's probably gonna happen.
We know what's going to happen here.
We know how the story's gonna end. They're gonna lose a heartbreaker.
So,
Dak might give it away because the thing. This is, if Dak wins MVP, that might be the worst thing for the Cowboys. That could be the worst thing. That would be so much pressure. It's going to be so much talk about this being, especially if they go on a little run here and they beat some of these teams. And if he wins MVP, I still don't know if he's the front runner for MVP. I'm not ready to say that he is going to pick him for MVP. But let's say if he does, Cowboys, America's team, everyone's getting behind them. That's going to be too much pressure. Too much pressure. They're going to crack.
they're going to crack either way because, for me personally, I don't think Dak is better than Tony Romo.
I'm not
And,
sure if he is either. Yeah, I'm
and
with you on that.
especially late Tony Romo before he got hurt.
Yeah.
If this was late Tony Romo, they would be no doubt going to the Super Bowl. I think with the way he quarterbacked at the end of his career, Dak is just give me a
That's
break.
hot right now. Like he's hot. Like
And
quarterback going hot stretches.
a lot of the whole like they're not facing good teams and they're eating is because it's really that's Dak. It's not necessarily like, well, yeah, Cooper Rush could have been doing that too, but then like Cooper Rush would have also struggled against really good teams.
True.
I don't think Tony Romo would struggle against the good teams. Like, I mean, he shown that he will lose in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
Point really is that but I would trust Tony Romo more than I would trust Dak, and I'm just over this talk about him being MVP. Why does he have to be MVP? Why can't he just be having a good season?
I'm with. Well, the reason. Well, okay. So two things. Well, one, Tony Romo deserves a lot more credit. Like I feel like because he did have some bad losses, that I feel like people let that overshadow his career. But Tony Romo was a very good quarterback, and I'm with you. Up until this stretch, I was like, yo, I thought that kind of was the new Tony Romo, and that like he just couldn't win that big game. But even with that, Tony Romo was a very good quarterback, and he might lose a big game, but he wouldn't struggle in a big game. He would play well and maybe have like some bullshit happen at the end. But Tony Romo, like I don't ever really remember him like struggling in those big, like struggling like in terms of like his individual play. So I'm totally with you. As far as the MVP talk, I mean the reason why, I mean, I feel like people need to maybe pump the brakes on it a little bit, just because I feel like it's changing every week. So we might just gotta wait to the end of the season. And it's just because no one else is really having an MVP season. Like I heard, like Brock Purdy, one person said that he's the front runner, that his the odd, or like that Vegas has the odds highest for him winning the MVP, which would be kind of crazy.
I would rather have. I mean, looking at their numbers, I would give it to Brock before I give it to Dak.
Bro, I feel like this is
Numbers
Tyreek Hill
they have the
season
two
now.
best quarterback numbers. I mean, if you just look at the touchdown and interception ratio, the quarterback ratings, completions, completion percentages, yards per throw. I mean, Brock Purdy's 9.6 in yards per attempt. I mean, that's the highest in the league, and he has the highest quarterback rate, and he's 23 touchdowns to six. Dak is 26 touchdowns to six. So he has three more, but he's also not really playing anyone. And Brock has played. Like I don't also, I'm not that high on Brock because I think the same thing with Dak. I think a lot of touchdown passes are just like we're just like a little like like I get it. Like the stat line is going to show Brock Purdy shines 4 touchdown passes, but I mean I don't know. I guess again I didn't see most of the game, but I don't remember any bombs. Like I don't really know how many bombs he's really thrown. And most of his touchdown passes, dudes are just wide open. I mean, I yeah, right now I don't think there's any quarterback that, at this point that we can say is MVP. We would have to look elsewhere, and I think for now I would have to say Tyreek Hill. He's on
Yeah,
pace for over 2,000 yards. The Dolphins are still winning. Tua right now is the number one vote getter in the Pro Bowl. So I wouldn't give him the MVP, but what Tyreek's doing, he wouldn't be able to do it without him. So I would give it to Tyreek for now. There's no one else that really deserves it.
I mean, so about Brock Purdy, so I was having this conversation with one of my friends in the group chat because he's pretty low on Brock Purdy too. So again, like our guys open, yeah, and that speaks to great coaching. Um, Jimmy Garoppolo had the same weapons, the same coaching, and this offense was not playing at this level. Like, yes, he went to the Super Bowl, but that was when that defense was elite. That was when they were a much different team. That they were kind of an old school team, and that they would grind it out and they played great defense and they locked you up. And Jimmy Garoppolo was truly a game manager. It was like, we'll get guys open for you, we'll scheme them. Like, just don't lose us the game. Brock Purdy, like, I'm not. I mean, so, and that's why I'm not going to say that he's elite. If you just people that may look at the numbers, be like, he's elite. No, because he's not threading the needle. And it's like sometimes you got to take what the defense gives you. Like if you're if you're just throwing bombs, you're throwing picks and incompleting, not having complete passes, that's not the correct throw. Like the correct, if the man is open and you're consistently hitting him, like yeah, you might not be threading the needle like prime Drew Brees. He may not be out there picking the defense apart like Peyton Manning, but I feel like there's something to be said about being able to read the defense and hitting guys open in stride and getting your playmakers the ball and essentially being a point guard on the field. Now, if you want to say that like his playmakers are carrying him some, I mean that wouldn't be unfair, but I feel like people are discrediting. Like I guess if it was just that easy that any person could step in, then Kirk Cousins, would have played well. You know, he had Justin Jefferson. He had Dalvin Cook. He's played with like Adam Thielen at his prime. Even TJ Hawkinson, he struggled at times. Now, I'm not necessarily, I guess I am comparing the 49ers, but I guess it's just something to be said about consistently reading the defense and making the throws and having the poise and getting the ball to the guys. You know, now, if you want to say that an average quarterback could do that, I mean, what have we really seen? Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to discredit him like that because I just don't know. If it was that easy, I feel like anyone could do it. And we're not seeing like anyone can do that because Kyle Shanahan is not the only good offensive play caller in the NFL. Like he's a great one. He's special. He should probably get Hall of Fame consideration. Now, does every team have like a CMC and a Debo? Nah, Shanahan,
Kyle Shanahan,
he's on path.
Hall of Fame.
If he continues doing what he's doing,
Come on.
if he continues doing what he's doing, you don't think he's on path? You don't think he's a Hall of Fame trajectory?
No. No.
So if he continues to win,
He just keeps winning. Sure. I mean, I mean, he has to win like 12 games consistently, and he has to at least win one Super Bowl.
I don't think he has to win a Super Bowl. I would have put Andy Reid in the Hall of Fame without the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's the winningest coach. He's one of the winningest coaches of all time.
True. Okay, so I would say this: if you don't have a Super Bowl, yeah, you do need to win a lot of games. True.
Yeah. I mean, what he's done so far, I mean, wasn't he the coach when they were 1-10 before they got Jimmy G?
I mean, it's possible. I'm not sure.
I think he was. I like Kyle Shanahan, but we also got to keep in mind, he's also kind of like the shadow coach, really. I mean, Mike Shanahan is basically making every decision with him from Monday up until before Sunday. So they need to investigate that too, because we already know that is happening. I don't know like how deep it is going, but like if he's really like basically having two coaches on one team just because he is his father, that's not fair. That's not fair. Mike Shanahan's a Hall of Fame coach. He's won 2 Super Bowls. So I don't know what they got running over there in San Francisco and John Lynch and all of those guys, but I can't say I can't go that far for Mike
Okay.
Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. How many years has he coached so far?
I'm gonna say 5 years. Like head coach, I think he got the job in
Yeah.
2018. They were horrible in 2018. 2019 is when they went to the Super Bowl.
Okay. So I'll pump the brakes on that. He's been a good coach. I'll say that he's been a very good coach, and I'll leave it at that.
He's been an excellent offensive mind, offensive play designer, and
Okay, that's
you know,
fair.
but he also blew the Super Bowl. We know he
Did
was.
he blow? Jimmy. I think Jimmy blew the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about when he was offensive coordinator for the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, that was some bad play calling. Yeah, that was yeah.
So
I
he
mean,
was
it was a lot that went
he
on. There's a,
showed in big games.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of blame to go around for that, but yeah, that play calling at the end, because even with that comeback, what did they do? Or did they call? They called a pass or something when they just really just did not have to, and then there was like a false start. Like a lot of shit happened, but there was some bad play calling at the end of the game, and I was like, yeah, that could have lost him it. So I'm with
I like
you.
him, but let's pump the
Okay,
brakes.
okay. You know what? You're right. I'll pump the brakes. I will pump the brakes.
Well, Chip
Um,
Kelly was on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Stop it, bro. Stop
I
it.
mean, he
Stop
went he went 10-6. Look, he was the Eagles coach for 3 years. He went 10-6 two out of 3 years. He changed.
Stop
He
it, bro.
he changed. He innovated the fast play calling and the speed, and
Oh, people don't do that shit no more.
it works. Yeah, it worked for one season,
Yeah, it
but
worked for that one season, and niggas was gassed. They got in the best shape of their lives, and they couldn't sustain that. But honestly, Chip Kelly could have been a good coach, but I think that he got arrogant and he thought that his system, like he didn't need his best players. He didn't need good players. Like he pulling the
I'm not
Arthur
really
Smith.
comparing those two. Chip Kelly is not Kyle Shanahan, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, this all can change next year. They're one injury and one left tackle retiring away from who knows how good they really are. So,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
and I also give you Brock Purdy in this. Other than Jimmy G, when he's had other quarterbacks, when he didn't have a quarterback, they didn't seem to do any good at all. Like Jimmy G really did save life, even as bad as he's been. He saved life once he came in there because the quarterbacks they had, they were like, even in 2017, when the Eagles faced them out in 2017, they whooped their ass. They were horrible back then.
Yeah.
2018, they were horrible. And they didn't have a quarterback. So, Jimmy G came in at the last 5 games, 2018, and that's when they went like 5-0 down the stretch, and they came in the
Yeah.
next 2019 and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I give
Okay.
Brock credit for
What's
that.
up?
I give Brock Purdy credit for that, but he gets more credit than I give Kyle Shanahan.
Really?
For that reason, yes. Because when he had those other quarterbacks before Jimmy G, they were 1-10.
Yeah, and that's not to beat a dead horse, but there is something to be said about consistently winning. You know
And
what I'm
also
saying?
CMC.
Well, yeah, and CMC, like
They
they're
were
okay.
2-1 last year.
Yeah, they're stacked. But this is the thing. Jimmy G has CMC too, though, for a little bit.
For a couple, I mean,
He had him
it,
for a little bit.
it wasn't that long. Brock Purdy basically had him the whole time.
No, pretty much. Like he's had him for because Jimmy G had him for a little bit, and I want to say they lost like their first couple of games with CMC.
They only lost the first game because that was his first game, and that was against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And that's when they had Jimmy G, and then he got hurt. And then Brock Purdy came in the next week.
No,
And
no,
then
Trey Lance came.
Brock Purdy?
No, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, you're
Trey
right.
Lance already got hurt. He got
Yeah, you're
hurt
right.
too when he had, he broke his leg or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
One game in the monsoon, they lost, and then he broke it, got hurt the next game. They had Jimmy G, and then they traded for CMC, but they lost that first game with the Chiefs. I mean, yeah, with the Chiefs, they got blown out. Jimmy G got hurt again. And then Brock Purdy came in, and the rest has been history. So to me, it's more of a, you know, Jimmy G. I mean, Brock Purdy, CMC trade move, which was big.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were 3-4, and he could have been.
Yeah. All right. So listen. Okay. So that goes to. So I'll segue to one of the questions I have for you. So who are the 7 teams that you think are going to come out of each conference?
The 7 teams, okay. Well, as the standings look right now, the Chiefs I mean, the Dolphins and Eagles are the number one teams right now in their respective conferences. Um, Let me just pull up really quickly this playoff picture. I'm not 100% sure of everyone's schedule moving forward. I know that it's like what 5 games left. Basically, this was the last week for the buys for everyone. I'll start with the NFC because it's a little bit easier. Obviously the first 3 teams are in Eagles, 49ers, Lions, and Cowboys. They're all going to make the playoffs. And then you got
Mhm.
the NFC South team. The Falcons now are that team leading at 6-6. The Bucks are 5-7, and the Saints are 5-7. Um, uh, I would say, without looking at the schedules, just to me, the best team out of those 3, I think, is the Bucks. Um, I think
Okay.
I think the Bucks are going to find a way to get it. I kind of trust Baker down the stretch. Mike Evans is proven why he's going to end up being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I kind of like their defense a little bit. I'm not really sure how good their defense still is, but
Hmm.
still got Devin White and so I'm gonna say them. And then the wild card teams, 2 other wild card teams other than the Cowboys. You got the
Okay.
Vikings at 6-6. You got the Packers at 6-6. The Rams are at 6-6. Seahawks at 6-6.
Hmm.
So 2 of those teams I would have to pick. For now, I would say the Rams and the Packers are playing
Okay.
the best out of those 4. The Rams and the Packers. The Vikings are up and down with Dobbs
Hmm.
and Justin Jefferson's going to be. Seahawks, they just have a hard schedule and they just suck. Like, they just suck to me. They're going to lose to the 49ers again. They're going to play them twice in 3 weeks, and they're going to lose again because they suck. Now, if they win, that'll be great. But they're going to lose. With the crazy thing is they're going to lose to them again, and then they're likely going to beat the Eagles on Monday
Yeah.
night in Seattle. It's so annoying the way they have the schedule for the Eagles. But I'm going to say that those are the 7 teams in the NFC.
All right. So who are you saying again? So you got the
I'll say in order, I'll say the Eagles keep that 1 seed,
uh
49ers 2, Lions 3, um, the Bucks at 4, the
okay.
Cowboys at 5. I would say the Packers at 6, and the Rams at 7.
I'm gonna go kind of similar. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna pick the 7 teams because a lot can change. Eagles, 49ers, Lions, Cowboys. I agree with you about the Bucks. I think that everything that you said. I was having a conversation with one of my friends who he thinks that like essentially Mike Evans is a stat patter, but I'm like, there's really no stat padding in football. Like maybe a quarterback playing from behind, and he just throwing all game. But if you're a wide receiver, you got to get open. You got to catch the ball. Like he had a 75-yard catch and run. Like that was silly. Like this is not the MVP to the NBA, to where if you've been on bad teams, if you have great stats, like you're a stat patter. Like that's not how football works. Especially at a running back, wide receiver, tight end. Like nah, you got to earn that shit.
Yeah.
So he was just talk. Sometimes he would just be talking gibberish. So I said Eagles, 49ers, Lions, Cowboys, Bucks. The Packers are getting hot at the right time. And that seventh, I'm gonna go with the Rams. So I think actually we're in agreement. The Vikings, I like Josh Dobbs, but he can make mistakes. Um, he can be mistake prone. I like his story. I like that he's a professional. I think he's a great quarterback to weather the storm. But even with Justin Jefferson coming back, I just think that he can make some mistakes. I don't like that they can't run the ball. Um, I love that their defense has bounced back, but I just don't think that I think they're going to be the odd one out. The Saints, man, if they were 6-6, I think that they could squeeze one out. They could squeeze it out, but yeah, I just don't. I think they're going to stay behind. I think the Bucks probably have the offense that I trust the most. Um, and that defense is taking a little bit step back, but they're not terrible. The Falcons, man, Desmond Ritter, man, he just bad, man. That offense is just not good. Um, they have pieces potentially, but for some Arthur Smith doesn't want to use them. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't want to give Bijan Robinson the ball for some reason. He doesn't want to like try to get like scheme Kyle Pitts open. I don't well, I know what he's doing. He's one of those dudes that are like too smart for his own good, who thinks that like he wants to prove that he can win like playing his way and that he doesn't need his like he can use his guys as decoys and that he's such a great offensive mind that he can win without him because he ran a fucking jet sweep on the 1 yard line with Jonnu Smith and he just wouldn't give Bijan Robinson the ball. You know, he doesn't get Drake London involved. Like he doesn't use his best players. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. That's actually a really good trio.
Yeah.
Like Drake London, I'm not that high on him, but he's
Okay.
he's I mean, I'm a Panthers fan. I would love to have him. I'm sure the Patriots would love to have him.
Yeah.
Um, he'd be a number 2 on the Cowboys,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not a bad player, and just for whatever reason, they're not incorporating him. I like that the Falcons' defense has really improved. It's going to be a wasted season because their coach is just a dickhead. Um,
I think it's a possibility they both can make the playoffs because of
who?
the Falcons and the Bucks. Because the Falcons are 6-6, the Bucks are 5-7. So if the Bucks come back, or if the Bucks don't win the division, I think it maybe not. But if the Bucks were to win the division, I think the Falcons will have a chance based on what the Vikings end up doing in the Rams because they all have the same record. Now, I'm just taking the Seahawks out of it because they're 6-6 and they're about to be 6-7 for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only reason why I don't think that 2 teams from the NFC South can make it, are just because I think the Packers and the Rams are playing well at a good time. The Packers beating the Chiefs. Let me see who they play next. They play the Giants. They play the Giants, then they play the Bucks, and then they play the Panthers. So honestly, I guess that game against the Bucks will actually have a ton of playoff implications on who will get in. But the Packers, man, they're playing surprisingly playing pretty well. Um
I like
Jordan
Jordan.
Love. You said what?
I like his game. I like his game.
He's been a little bit up and down at times. He started pretty well at the start of the season, then had some really rough stretches to where I was like, I don't know about him, but he's looking a lot more poised. Um, the play calling was a little bit iffy in the middle part of the season. Like, I don't know what was going on. I know Aaron Jones has pretty much missed the entire season. Christian Watson hasn't really been who I think they wanted him to be. Uh, I was thinking that he could have made that jump into being a star player. May have be wrong about that. Um, but they're turning the corner though. That defense also, I was expecting them to be a little bit better than what they are.
Mhm.
But okay, what's
Sorry.
up?
No, my donkey's farting. I hate when he does this because he's always his ass is always facing me. It's really annoying. It's so annoying.
All right, so let's go. I'm sorry, you suffering over there.
I'm looking at the schedule though. The Vikings is gonna have a hard time getting in. They got the Raiders on the road this week, but then they got the Bengals on the road. So they got back-to-back road games, Raiders and Bengals. Then they got the Lions twice and the Packers before, to finish their last three.
That's tough.
And then the Bucks, they got the Falcons this game. So this is a big game. It's in Atlanta. So Atlanta could separate themselves.
Yeah.
But the Bucks also got a tough schedule too, because they got to face the Packers. They're going to be going for it, and they got to face the Jags and Saints before they beat the Panthers. So um, it's going to be interesting. But I'll say that I'll stick with the Falcons for now. And I'll say that the Packers. I'll switch it. I'm gonna say the Falcons. I'm not gonna say the Bucks because the Bucks
Okay.
got tough. I'm gonna have to say the Packers. I mean the Falcons,
Hmm.
and then the two wild card teams. I'll say what's the Rams schedule?
They play the 49ers this weekend, I believe.
No, Rams play the Seahawks and 49ers play this week. Okay, so they play the
Oh,
Ravens. Okay, they're gonna lose to the Ravens, but then
they play the Ravens. They play the excuse me, I'm tripping. They play the Ravens.
they got the Ravens, Commanders, Saints, Giants, and then the 49ers the last week. So
God.
they can well, yeah, they're all gonna have bad records. I don't know. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
if this dude does this one more time, he's gonna have to get up. Um, I'm gonna go. This is hard to predict. I'll say that it'll be they're all so bad. I'll just say the Packers and Rams. I'll say Packers and Rams.
I mean,
AFC.
those are the two best teams of the, at least to me. I mean, they're the only teams. I mean, they have the quarterbacks that I trust the most. Um, Matt LaFleur has not lost in December.
He will.
Yeah, he probably will. That's like he's somehow
Those
16 and
stats
0
are
or
bad.
something.
They gotta stop with those stats, man. Like, come on.
Well, that's really Aaron Rodgers, him getting hot.
Yeah, it's like, well,
I
he's
mean, he still is 16 and
headed
0.
toward the Hall of Fame trajectory because he's undefeated. I mean, come on.
I'm just saying, bro. Listen, all I'm saying is I'm not. Listen, he has not lost in December. That's all I'm saying.
Who they? I mean, they're about to lose this Sunday.
Yeah, who they play? Let's.
They go against the Giants Monday night.
Yeah, that's a winnable
Well,
game.
who knows? Danny DeVito,
Isn't
man.
I think Tyrod Taylor coming back.
No, he earned a starting job. Danny DeVito is the man. He changed your life in New York. He might be the starter next year.
I'm.
It's them Italians, man. They got some thick blood, man. He can handle New York. They might win that game. So we'll
Nah.
see. We'll
I
see what
mean, he's got them looking competent. Like they were looking like damn, they're not an NFL team. Like that game against Seattle, I think that was on Monday night. I think like that was. I mean, for one, that was a bad when they had all gave up like 11 sacks or something. Like that game was. It wasn't even a good game. I didn't even leave that game thinking Seattle was even that good. The Giants were just a JV team. Um. So yeah, but all right. So let's go to the AFC. Who do you have as your top seven?
top seven. A lot of good teams in the AFC. Kinda. Um, I think the Dolphins are going to end up keeping that one seed. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC. I think with Akane back and Mostert running the ball,
Mm-hmm.
can't stop because you can't stop Tyreek Hill. And when they get to the playoffs, as I list these other six teams, I don't see anyone, and I mean anybody, being able to stop them from getting the ball to Tyreek Hill and causing an impact. Because there's going to be those little moments in those games that's going to matter. It's not going to be like the regular season. So yeah, I would say they're one, Ravens two, Chiefs three. Jags are 4 right now, but I don't. I heard that Trevor Lawrence got hurt. I don't know how serious the injury is.
It was a high ankle sprain.
Um, he's fortunate that the rest of these teams are all have bad quarterbacks too. And if there's anyone who can bring a backup quarterback and play well, it'll be Dougie P. So I'll stay with the Jags at 4, and then you have the wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bills get in. They're 10 right now. It's at 6-6. I think they
Yeah.
get in. I think the Texans get in. They're at 8 on the bubble. And I think that last team,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come down to who deserves it and who's going to get it. Who I think deserves it based on these teams, the Broncos deserve to get that last spot. I think the Broncos deserve to get that last spot, but it's likely going to end up being the Steelers, in my opinion, because of the defense. Um, I don't think the Colts get in. The Steelers are at 5, Colts are at 6, Browns are at 7. I think Browns get out. I think Colts get out. I think the Texans move up. I think the Bills move up, and I think the Broncos can sneak in there, but I think the Steelers will be able to hold on.
Um. Who? Okay. So I.
And I don't think the Steelers are going to hold on to that 5th spot either, because I think the Texans are going to jump them for that. I think the Texans are going to have that best record after the division winners.
You said they're gonna jump who?
I think the Texans will jump the Steelers with the 7-5.
Mm.
Instead, they're 7-5. The Colts are 7-5,
Mm-hmm.
and the Texans are 7-5. And
Uh, I'm looking at this, man. The AFC is yeah, it's pretty stacked. So I'm not gonna try to pick the seeding, but I'll just pick the teams. The Dolphins. I agree with you. Like Raheem Mostert is having a great season. Devon Ashe, man, that boy is nice, man. What healthy. Um, that team is tough, but mainly no one can keep Tyreek Hill from getting the ball. So he's gonna eat. So I mean, he's gonna do his thing. That defense is playing better. So I'm gonna go Dolphins, Ravens, Chiefs. I'm not sure if you saw that game on Monday, but CJ Berthard, I can't pronounce his last name, but the backup quarterback, he ain't look bad. And the Bengals don't have a terrible defense. But he came in and looked pretty good.
you
Now,
know,
Christian,
Bengals,
no, no. Well, actually, both quarterbacks actually look good. Low, is it Jake Browning
yeah.
and when Trevor Lawrence got injured, the backup, his name is CJ Berthard. I'm probably mispronouncing it.
Yeah, Burger, that's one
Yeah,
that was 49ers quarterback.
that was who?
That was his 49ers quarterback when they went going 1.
Oh, yeah, you right, you right, you
Against the
right.
Eagles. I remember him.
Well, he ain't look bad on Monday.
He
I
looked bad
will,
in that game either. For a little bit.
yeah. But Christian Kirk is injured. Um,
They got a tough game. They
so
got the Browns next.
uh yeah, that's a bad matchup. Okay, so that game's gonna have a lot of playoffs implications. So I'm gonna say that the Jaguars, because at first I thought that maybe like Trevor Lawrence may have like fractured his ankle, but that high ankle sprain, he could come back. So I'm gonna go. I'll pick the Jags for. Um, man, this is when it gets tough. Um, hmm. I'm gonna say the Bills. I think they're gonna make a run and squeeze in. They'll be my fifth team. The sixth team. Shit, man. I'll say the Texans, and then I'll say the Browns. Possibly the Browns. I think that the Steelers, that defense, I mean, they've been winning ugly, but I just don't think it's sustainable. Kenny Pickett is out, which that's not really saying too much. They're bringing Mitch Trubisky in, but one thing I will say about Kenny Pickett, he's not very good to me, but he won't lose you the game. Mitch Trubisky might go out there and have like 2, 3 turnovers, or he might just do some dumb shit. Kenny Pickett is just not a playmaker. He's just not good to me. That offense, he's not good. They've ran the ball better as of late. Jalen Warren actually looks like he could actually take Najee Harris's spot, but at very least they have a two-headed running back. So that offense is good. The offensive line isn't always consistent, but they look better as of late. Deontay Johnson is acting like he doesn't want to be there. So I mean, that
None
nigga
of us
might get.
is gonna be there.
Yeah,
He,
none of them niggas. Yeah, none of them want to be there. So I mean, I'm not sure if he comes back next season. Mike Tomlin, I don't know. I feel like he tolerates a lot. So to be honest, after that game to where he saw that fumble and just walked away, I thought that nigga could have gotten cut. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Mike Tomlin didn't. Sometimes I feel like he's actually too nice to these guys. Like that nigga's not AB. Like he's like Antonio Brown. If you look past that, like all right, but Deontay Johnson, like that nigga is not that nice to be acting like that.
he's just gonna go to a contender.
Who?
Deontay Johnson.
That nigga's not that good, bro. Like I'm not saying he's bad. He's an average, huh?
But you would be doing him a favor. That's what he want. He want to get cut so he
Who?
can to a contender and win a
He
Super
doesn't want to go. He is trying to play his way out, and
Bowl.
Mike Tomlin just will not do it. He would not. He would not cut that nigga.
So yeah. But I
But
think the Steelers can get it just by default of Mike Tomlin.
yeah, but at some point, like yeah, he's never had a losing record. I mean, I don't know if they can get 4 more wins. They will hold. I think they're 7-5. Excuse me, I'm tripping. I'm
That's
tripping.
a-
Not 5. Okay. Let me. So yeah, they could. So they're
They got the
playing.
Patriots tomorrow. They're gonna beat the Patriots.
Yeah, they're
Trust
gonna
it.
beat the Patriots. Okay,
And they
I'm
got the
looking at their schedule.
Colts.
They
Then they
can
got
win
the
that.
Bengals, and they got the Seahawks and Ravens.
Okay, actually, they could win 4 of those 5 games.
Yeah,
Actually,
they can. Yeah, they're going 4 out of 5. Definitely 3 out of 2.
bro, if
Yeah,
they
give or
go 10 and
take.
they okay, a 10-7, like that's okay. I can give
They're,
them
they're,
that.
they're for sure going to get to 9. So he's going to have a winning record again.
Yeah, okay. I just don't like that team, man. Like, and not like personally. I just don't. Well, I don't like that offense. Let me rephrase. George Pickens, I don't like him. Like, I'm not high on him.
Not crazy about him either.
You know,
He's good
uh,
though. He's not all that.
he's average. Like these are average NFL wide receivers.
He's good at contested catches.
But it's like that's cool and all,
Yes,
but like that's like being like great at dunking or great at making like trick shots. Like I feel like for me, it's better like just to be able to get open, and that's why Kenny Pickett struggles. Like you need niggas that can get open. So all those tough catches, that's cool. Everyone wants to be Odell Beckham, but like getting open to me is way more impressive, way more effective than being able to make a tough catch. So like he can do that, but it's just not that's not good football to me. What?
I agree.
Yeah. So that's who I'm thinking. The Browns, I feel like they have a great defense. I mean, if they get in, it just be kind of by default because the teams below them, I just don't think can win enough, and they have a head. But I mean, well, I don't know. They got Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco can conjure up enough magic.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I'm surprised that he even. I'm surprised they even signed him. To be honest, look, I definitely know I wouldn't go back to PJ Walker because I can't look at him play another snap. He just seems like he is just having too much fun out there. He just goes out there and he's looking at whoever is open first. And he's just throwing it like that 49ers game, I'll never get over it, how much he really tried to give the 49ers that game. I just couldn't believe it. It's like he's not thinking about the team he's playing at all. He's just like, just winging.
He just happened to be there, man.
He's happy to be there.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah,
wasn't he was in the
rookie.
he was in the AFL, right?
Yeah. That's yeah. I think it was an MVP or something like that.
Yeah, man, this nigga, he just happened to be here, man. He living the dream.
He living
Um,
the
I think they signed Joe Flacco because I think DTR Dorian something Robinson got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. But which
So
when he gets healthy, they need to go back to him.
man, that
Because
nigga's trash, bro.
he's not trash. He's just a rookie, but he's better than Joe Flacco will give you as far as I think he'll give you a better chance, but also like the Browns aren't going anywhere anyway.
Nah, they not.
So
they not.
you need to see what you got in that rookie because Deshaun Watson's not the answer. And he has a lot of poise, like that rookie has a lot of poise, and somebody will take that contract, Deshaun, maybe not next year, but the following year. I think next year is gonna be crazy, but they can't keep Deshaun there, man.
Man,
They can't keep. He has to.
I'm with you, man. I'm not sure. Like Deshaun Watson has not played that many good games for the Browns.
I don't think
Like,
he wants to play.
I mean, he don't got paid, man. I mean, he's got 230 million guaranteed. I mean, his reputation's in the dumpster. I mean, every time he goes out there, I mean, he's got like a target on his back. I'm not sure if he wants to like maybe like play his way out of people criticizing him because at some point, if you play well, people will stop talking about it.
Yeah.
But he's not playing well, and in fact, like he's holding them back. Like they have a good team.
Yeah.
Who,
So,
who, who do you think would trade for him?
well, teams that need a quarterback next year that's not going to be drafting like high. I think you're talking about Browns. Falcons need a quarterback.
Mm.
Vikings need a
Shit, Minnesota,
quarterback.
yeah.
Giants, in theory, need a quarterback. Um,
The Raiders.
Raiders need a quarterback. He would fit right with the Raiders.
Just a bunch of maniacs. Just a bunch of degenerates.
He'll be right in there with the Raiders.
Yo, he'll be at home. The
And of course, Jets need a quarterback too, but I mean that would be a disaster if he went to the Jets.
honestly, that would be that New York media. That not, yeah, that would be. I think that's all the teams. Steelers. I don't know if they're ready to give up on Kenny Pickett though.
They'll be hard to trade in division. I mean, they would. It'll be like when the Eagles traded McNabb to Washington. It'll be like they know something that they don't know. It'll be like a fleece.
Of all those teams that you mentioned, um, Atlanta makes a lot of sense.
Atlanta does.
That makes a lot of sense because they're like not rebuilding. They're a quarterback away. They're a quarterback and a coach away, which are two things. If you trade for Deshaun Watson, he checks that off. They get better. He's in a weak division. Um, so like if he does like if he even if he's rusty, they can still win and they get a coach. I mean, I guess it just comes down to like if Chicago Cleveland thinks that like they should give up on him. And also I guess what would you get in return? Because like you wouldn't have a quarterback then, but you wouldn't be on the hook for over 200 million.
But the Browns wouldn't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Unless you really believe in DTR.
Well, I don't believe in them that much, but I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could trade for Desmond Ritter.
Man, you bro,
But I guess
Desmond Ritter.
Brown fans wouldn't be happy with that. Yeah, I mean, I guess you are stuck with Deshaun. You gotta hope that next year he's lights out and he's better. That's really kind
I
of
mean, theoretically though, what if you traded him to Minnesota? Like Cleveland is in kind of win now mode. They have a championship, possibly championship level defense, great running game. Nick Chubb coming back next season. Don't know how he's going to be, but Amari Cooper is in his prime. I mean, they're kind of poised to win. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I mean, you can get out of that contract, bring in a quarterback who, like, you know, maybe on a 1 year deal if they do I don't even know if you can do sign and trades and because Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent.
I would do that.
So
I
so it
mean,
would have to be like a sign and trade kind of thing.
I would do that, but I mean, both teams are just in a doesn't matter situation, really. I mean, neither one of them gonna be doing anything
Well,
anytime soon.
shit, if you get Deshaun Watson and Justin Jefferson, like theoretically, that's a good combination for the future.
But is Justin Jefferson staying there? Like, I don't think he's gonna stay.
Well, again, you would have to like coordinate with him, make sure that like he wants to stay. Like you don't do that trade if like Justin Jefferson wants to leave. So I would resign Justin Jefferson first,
We're
and
probably
then yeah, that's definitely all right. So one another question that I had: Did you hear about those comments that Tom Brady had about quarterbacks and offenses being mediocre today?
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I didn't hear the full quotes. I don't even really know what he said exactly, but I did see the headlines. I know people were talking about it. Some people are upset. So some people saying, "Oh, Tom Brady shouldn't watch football if he doesn't like it." Like, come on, give me a break. He's Tom Brady. Like, what do you mean he shouldn't watch the NFL if he doesn't like the product? I mean, I think the reality is, it's not. I don't think that the NFL offenses are the same as far as like the quarterback play. Like, I don't like. I think it was a lot better in like the 2000s, mid 2000s,
Yeah.
and even like the early 2010s, and even
Yeah.
like the mid
Yeah.
2010s.
Yeah.
I think that so far, like you kind of saw it coming. It's like it's just
Mm-hmm.
down right now where you had Brady, you had Manning, you had Phillip, you had Ben, you had Mahomes, and um, all those guys are now retired. Eli, and you can't just keep assuming that every year you're going to have a bunch of Hall of Fame level
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks. Um, I need to use the bathroom real quick, and I
Yeah.
actually
Do
have
you think?
and I want to make sure that I get this. Like this is just I got a really good point.
All right. Hey, hold on to that. I'll pause it. This will be the commercial break.
Okay, cool.
I hold that thought. All right, we are back from commercial break. Yeah, Josh, take us away. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, so you were asking about Tom Brady in the comments, like, yeah,
Yeah.
stay with the NFL, and I'm not again, I'm not 100% sure of everything that he had said, but the way I look at it is, and this goes, I think honestly a little bit deeper than just sports in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with a couple people about this, where you look at, and I think Tom Brady looks at this a little bit too, a little bit, not this deep, but we look at that like what we've seen in sports so far. I do think that we've as this uh, uh I guess species of human species. I think we've seen the best of we've seen. All right, like best in baseball, but Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds. The list goes on. Whoever you want to name pitchers if you want. Basketball, Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, all those guys. Football, Jim Brown, Brady, all those guys. Hockey, you know, maybe I don't know hockey so much, but you got Gretzky. I don't think anyone's going to top Gretzky. So we got all these sports, and we got the greats of all times, and I think we've seen them all. And I think when we look at the NFL now, and we see the way that the NFL is going with the offenses, obviously is headed, the penalties, the way that some of the games are determined are more. I hate to say that it's more controversial than it's ever been. We've had moments in the past where it was controversial, but those were like moments, right? Like we had like the fail Mary, just to keep it like recent, but like now, like every week, every game almost, there's a call that's deciding games, there's bad calls that's being, either called or not being called. Quarterback hits, the way that the quarterbacks are playing, we really right now can list. I mean, it's a struggle to list 10 really good quarterbacks. So you can name 10 really good quarterbacks, but in a
Mm-hmm.
great like scheme, like the scope of it, great quarterbacks,
Yeah.
Mahomes, Burrow, that's it. Like we're hoping that we know Mahomes, but we're hoping that Burrow stays healthy and that he's
Mm-hmm.
this is good. But yeah, running backs aren't that great. They don't really run the ball that well. They don't have a back that's carrying 20, 30, I mean 30 times a game now. That everyone's mixing and matching, and receivers, divas, great guys, but like even the great ones kind of on the back end, except for Justin Jefferson. You got Jamar Chase. You got some good, you got some skill players. I won't say that, but like, yeah, I think that in general, the league doesn't look as good as it did like when Brady was playing. Like we don't have those cerebral guys. We got guys like Brock Purdy, who's, you know, he's managing games. He was a people forget he was a very like it's crazy because I was telling someone about Brady, and I was like, how Brady was a 6th round pick, right? It's like, yeah, he was. That's I was like, it's only 7 rounds in the draft. Talk to a guy who doesn't really know football. It's like, yeah, that's 7 rounds. Like he was a 6th round pick. I was like, Brock Purdy was literally the last pick, the literal last pick, and he's he's balling, and he's being talked in the same breath as Tom Brady already, and I don't think that's fair. And I don't see that great of teams in general. That's why I feel like this is a great time for the Eagles to get this done, and I don't see that great of um like Hall of Fame. Like I don't know, it's not the same. I kind of see what he's saying, and I don't think people should be trashing him. Like I get this thing like Tom Brady shouldn't say it, but like it's just the truth. Like we need like a guy like Zach Wilson who's number 2 pick, you know, basically got the number 2 pick off of one pass in a pro day where he
Yeah.
like kind of did a no look, beautiful throw, and he gets to be number 2 pick, and he completely wasn't ready for it, and he's just like garbage. Like that's cheating the fans. Like we want to see that nigga come out like Aaron Rodgers. We were told he was going to be
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. The next thing you know, he's playing with Aaron Rodgers, but it's because he's so bad they had to trade for a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And now I don't think Aaron Rodgers can carry the NFL by just being great when he's in his late 40s like Brady did. So that's the GOAT talking, and I think the GOAT is I think he's speaking the truth. There's the Patriots run is over. The Chiefs could potentially be a dynasty, but I think they have flaws. I don't think they're going to be like the Patriots. I don't. I think that there's a chance they may not get back to the Super Bowl in a while. There's a chance they may not win another Super Bowl. Like that's where I'm at with that.
So I'm with you when you're talking about quarterbacks, and I don't know the exact quote, but I want to say I think he was talking about quarterback play and offensive line specifically. And you're spot on that if we really go down the list of quarterbacks, if we talk about great quarterbacks, if I'm being like kind of like if I'm being generous, like the great quarterbacks that can play that I would consider great, that is not like up far fetched to put them in the conversation. Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, that's 4. Justin Herbert's 5. Dak Prescott 6. Um,
Lamar,
who?
Lamar,
Lamar, thank you, 7. Um,
Trevor Lawrence,
even with him, I mean,
CJ
now what CJ Stroud 8. I mean, but even with Trevor Lawrence, like if I put him in there, but even with him, I feel like is he really meeting expectations? Like he was a generational prospect. So let's say Trevor Lawrence is 9. Who's 10th? Purdy. That's a big drop. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what Tom Brady was saying is that there aren't a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. If you look at the NBA, there are a lot of great point guards. Like every team has a great point guard that if you don't have that, you're getting exposed. It's like of 32 teams, 27 of them, 27 of them have point guards that play at a very high level. You're not saying that. Once you get to like the 20th best quarterback, it's some bad play. And like for me, the some things. So a lot of things that you were saying. One, this is a passing league, and in my opinion, I feel like the league makes it easy to pass. Like you and I are essentially the same exact age. I remember a time like the concept of a slot receiver, not a guy that's the third wide receiver on the field, but a slot receiver as a position really did not exist until Wes Welker. There may have been some exceptions, but there was a time where you go across the middle, your head was getting taken off. So just a guy that could just live like having like short routes, his ribs, his head is getting taken off. Now, again, that makes the game safer, but now a quarterback has a lot of easy completions because he has a slot receiver that can go over the middle of the field because he doesn't have to worry about his head getting taken off. I remember Randy Moss even said in his prime of his career that he wouldn't run routes hard going across the middle of the field. He only will go hard like on fly routes or like, sexy passes, but anything that required getting hit, wide receivers wouldn't do that because they were getting hit like that. So you don't have defenses where there's a guy on the field simply just to hit you hard anymore. You don't have that. So now quarterbacks can get a lot of easy completions, a lot of checkdowns. I mean, there was a time to where you could get really physical those first 5 yards at the line of scrimmage. Now you're getting defensive holding. Now you're getting illegal contact. I mean, now all you got to do is throw a 50-50 ball and underthrow it, and the receiver jump up for it. And if the corner plays on the ball, it's a flag. You know what I'm saying? Like any contact, the corner is, a corner make a play on this guy's times where a corner's making a play on the ball, he's getting flagged. So all these rules, I mean, you can't if you hit a quarterback all these rules. I'm just ranting at this point. You hit a quarterback half a second late, it's a flag. If you throw him to the ground, flag. If you hit him too low, flag. Hit him in the too high, flag. All these rules, the game, and even what you're saying, all this controversy at the end of the game is because like the rules, in my opinion, have gotten too much slanted to the offense, allowed them to move the ball. All these rules have been slanted for the offense, and yet these quarterbacks still play like shit. These niggas might really suck, bro. If you put like some of these, if you put a Mac Jones, a Kenny Pickett, hell, maybe even a Jared Goff in 2005, these guys might not be playing. So like, I kind of feel what Tom Brady is saying that if I'm watching the game, I just feel like if you can't score 20 points a game in 2023, you might be trash. Like as good as defenses are fast as fuck. I do think defensive lines are much better than offensive lines right now, but like all the rules are slanted for you to want to score. Like there is nothing defenses are at such a disadvantage. So if you can't move the ball today, if you can't throw 280 yards today, like you wouldn't play 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. So like Tom Brady, I don't think he's so much talking about the product on the field. I think he is talking about the skill set of these quarterbacks, and he was also critical of offensive lines. Offensive lines get their asses whipped. Like there are very few offensive lines that can protect the quarterback really well. With that, I'm not going to say they're bad. I just think that defensive lines are just really good. You got guys who are 280 pounds running 4.5s. Like that shit's kind of impossible. This is damn near impossible. But like I'm just watching the game, and then anytime I'm watching the quarterback, I guess my litmus test is like, okay, he's looking good now. What would he do in 2006? What would he do against like when the rules? Because for me, I feel like 2000 up until 2000, like 2000 to like 2015, that was like, and maybe it's because like we were young, but the NFL had it right with the play. Like you had to be nice to move the ball. And defense, there's a reason why teams had to run the ball because if you just drop back and pass, like your receivers are going to get killed, quarterback's going to be killed. You had to be nice. There were quarterbacks throwing 45 times a game that should not. So to Tom Brady's point, I don't think he's off the mark. I think these guys kind of do suck, actually. Like I think they kind of trash, you know. But the only part that I disagree with you saying, I think skill players are good. I think wide receivers, running backs, corners, I think these guys are good. And I think the reason why we don't see as many standouts is because I think there are a lot of good quarterbacks. I'm not quarterbacks, a lot of good skill players. So I think that unless you're someone like Derrick Henry a couple years ago, CMC now, Tyreek Hill, you have to be a damn near a legend to stand out. So that's the only thing I disagree with on. But nah, I think this quarterback's kind of trash, man. Like Mac Jones, I think he's trash, bro. Kenny Pickett, he trash, man. Like these dudes, Desmond Ritter, trash. Like, and not, I'm not even necessarily trying to disrespect them per se, but their play, I do not think that they're good quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. So I agree with Tom.
Yeah, I agree with anything Tom said. Really.
You know, so that's all right. So that was my soapbox. So the last question I have, because I don't want to keep you here all night, who do you think are the best quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in the AFC and the NFC?
The best quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah, quarterback, running back, the best. So the best quarterback, the best running back, and the best wide receiver by conference. So just not the league, just each conference.
Okay. Um, in the AFC, well, the best quarterback is obviously Patrick Mahomes. Um, the best running back in the AFC right now, I would say, hmm, best running back in the AFC right now, I might have to say is I can't I changed for the Dolphins. I mean, I know you
Ooh,
got Travis Etienne and
okay.
Isaiah, but that man is he's just too good, man. Like he's really, really fast. That's the other thing too, is like he's as fast as Tyreek Hill as a running back. So I would say he's probably the best running back right now in the AFC. And the best receiver in the AFC is Tyreek Hill. So they got the best running back, I think, and the best receiver. And that's not even including Mostert, who's top five in rushing.
Yeah. I'm not mad at those picks. Devon Ashane, I guess maybe I'd have to see it a little bit more. Um, for me, best quarterback Mahomes, best running back, I'm gonna go Pacheco. I like he's a very physical runner. ETN is that conversation. Moster is in that conversation, and Ashane. So I'm not. I think that it's kind of splitting hairs, but he's a classic running back. He's very physical. I just like that he's aggressive.
Yeah.
Like he's really aggressive. I really like that, and I like that. Andy Reid. I hated when he would just forget that he has running backs. Like
Yeah.
I always hated when he did that. He did that on Philly. He did that at times for the Chiefs. I just always hated that. Best wide receiver, obviously Tyreek Hill. I mean, I think he's the best. To me, he's been the best wide receiver for a couple years now, but I definitely feel like he solidified that spot now. What about for the NFC for you?
For the NFC, for the quarterbacks, it's gonna really honestly just kind of come down to Dak and Jalen.
Hmm.
And for me, I've always hated on Dak. Never really liked Dak. There was one season I think I did kind of feel bad for him. I didn't think he was bad. I think it might have been last year when he kept
Okay.
throwing picks. Um, Jalen is the best quarterback in the NFC. I really am upset because I know how upset he feels for not playing to his standard, and I know he does. He's not going to say it publicly, but Brian Johnson, and again, I'll have to look and see like how many teams in the NFL have a black offensive and defensive coordinator on their team. I would have to see how many teams have that. I don't know if there's many, or at least how many they have a offensive and defensive coordinator that's black for their first time, giving them like a chance.
Hmm.
They're struggling, right? They're struggling, and like I'm all about giving a nigga a chance. Damn, man, like it's really hard to watch them every week because I don't like even in early in the 49ers game when it was still close. When I was watching, Jalen's has time in the pocket, and he's 5 6 seconds, and I don't know what he's seeing because I can only look at Jalen.
Hmm.
Why is no one open? Like you got all these guys, and I understand you don't have no Dallas Goddard, and Quest is coming off a hamstring injury. Julio's not the same. And Zacchaeus is he's average. Why are guys constantly not open? Why is the play calling constantly just like, what are you doing? So I think it messes up the way it looks on Jalen this season, especially because they don't have Shane Steichen, who obviously is, he's doing a good job with the Colts right now, even with Gardner Minshew. So,
Hmm.
but I think Jalen is the best quarterback in NFC right now. Just his
Okay.
poise, leadership, and
Not
the
mad
fact
at
that
that.
he is a good thrower, and he was just smart with the ball. Um, NFC is obviously CMC for running backs. Christian McCaffrey, he's just amazing. He's running the ball. He's getting 6 7 yards. If he's catching the ball, he's likely going to get a first down and more, 20
Yeah.
yards. Put him in the backfield. You could put him on the slot. You could put him on the outside. You can run him around. You can do whatever you want. You can throw with them if you want. Um, and then the best receiver, I think, is a little tough because I think it's a three-man horse race right now, and Justin Jefferson's been hurt, so he would be just number one. But because he's been hurt, and Jordan Addison is playing really, really well, and I don't know if he's going to be on the Vikings again. So I don't know what he's going to look like on a new team after his injuries. Um, Comes down to really three guys to me: um, Mike Evans, uh, CeeDee Lamb, and really a tie between AJ Brown and Devontae Smith because AJ Brown initially had the 5 straight games making records of
Hmm.
125, and then after that, teams just like whether he got tired or whether teams just said we're just going to double him, triple team him. He's been able
Hmm.
to do nothing, and then Devontae has just been picking it up, and he's been over 100 yards every game since, or at least he keeps getting 99 for whatever reason. But he keeps having big games and coming with big catches. So I would have those two tied. But if I had to pick one out of those, Mike Evans is too consistent right now.
Hmm.
I would have to go Mike Evans
Okay.
because every week he's scoring a freaking long touchdown.
Hmm.
Every week he's doing his part of the job to get the wins. It's not really his fault.
Hmm.
Um, Even when they double team him or whatever, like he's just consistent. Justin Jefferson, if he's healthy, yeah, he's the guy.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with him. And I like CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think CeeDee Lamb is that good. I think
Dang, bro, he been balling, dog. Dog, he and listen, I was not high on CD Lamb coming into last season. I was like, I probably had posted that I didn't think he was a number one. And first couple weeks he was a little bit slow, but the midway of last year, like he really came on. And this season, man, like he's been kind of straight up dominant, man.
yeah, he's played very, very well. And he's even played well against the Eagles. For whatever reason, they kept putting Eli Ricks on him. I don't know why. But Eli Ricks hasn't had a snap in the last 2 games, I'll tell you that. So I don't know why they had CeeDee Lamb, why they had him on him. But to me, CeeDee Lamb is really good when he's in the slot, when he's moving, and when he has those option routes. I think he can when he has an option route, I think he's really good. But if he route running, I'm not that crazy about him. And deep balls, I'm not that crazy. I'm not that crazy about him. He has speed, but I'm just saying, like,
Some of that's on Dak though. Like there was some throws against Seattle, some deep throws that Dak missed him that he got behind them on.
yeah, that's true. And I also think that the Seahawks gambled because they have 2 good
Mhm.
corners. I don't, you know, again, I don't understand their strategy in that game.
I didn't really get it either. I'm with you that I don't really feel like I see CD Lamb getting a lot of like bombs. Like he's not Tyreek. I feel like he's faster than Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson gets more bombs. So I just think that he's better at getting behind. And sometimes, like when you get open like that, it's not always about just running like straight run past them. Like it's about the double moves, getting them to bite. So there's more to it than just that. And Justin Jefferson is better than CD Lamb. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that. I do think that I guess I'll start with receiver. I think just based on this season, I'm not mad at Mike Evans at all. He's been consistent, very consistent with the worst quarterback of everyone listed. AJ Brown had an amazing stretch, but I think from start to finish, I think CeeDee Lamb has had the best season. Like statistically, I think also the fact that I think that AJ Brown does have Devontae Smith playing next to him. CD like Brandon Cooks, I'm high on him, but he's not Devontae Smith. He- so I think that also. So I think there's a little bit more pressure on CD Lamb. Because honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like CD is actually responsible for a lot of Dak's success right now. So I'm not sure, like, because sometimes with great quarterbacks, like the only time Dak has put up great numbers is with CD Lamb. Like there have been other games with other quarterbacks to where quarterbacks have great games where the team takes away their number one wide receiver. If you take away CD Lamb, I'm not sure if Dak can have these great games. So the quarterback is going to get a lot of credit, rightfully so. But I think Dak is a little bit more dependent on CD Lamb than what people have been given credit for. Like if CD Lamb does not play, that offense becomes a lot easier to guard.
Um,
Um,
just to
mhm.
list some of the defenses that the Cowboys, the secondaries that the Cowboys faced, not excluding the Jets game in week 2, when
Okay.
the Jets decided to throw the ball with Zach Wilson all game with 3 receivers and not run
That
it
made no sense. I watched that game. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
and put the defense out there a million times. The Giants,
Okay.
Cardinals, Patriots, the same thing with Mac Jones. Um, Chargers,
Okay.
Rams. So we're just talking secondaries.
Okay.
Chargers, Rams, Panthers, Giants, come Washington again, and then the Seahawks.
Of
So,
those
and
teams
I
that you
excluded the Eagles and 49ers because they lost.
lost those games, but I would say CD played well against the Eagles, though. If we're just talking about secondary, if
Eli
we're just talking
Eli
secondary, he
Eli
played
Ricks
well.
undrafted.
I'm just saying, but he was on the field. He was on the field. That's
I don't
on
know
them.
why I don't know why they had him on him. But all those catches, half the damn catches was on him, and it was when they did have him in motion, and I guess maybe that's how they was able to trade him off, and it I don't know.
Hey, that's good play calling, man. I'm just saying, if you put the nigga on the field, like he's on the field, you
I'm just saying
know.
the secondaries they face have been, you know, mediocre to say the least. I
Yeah,
mean,
to
that's
say the least. I mean, even if you include, because I mean, the 49ers, I mean, shit, Puka Nakua went crazy against the 49ers. So you can eat against them. I mean, listen, they have not played great teams. They've had a favorable schedule, but also, I mean, there's a lot of parity in the NFL. So at some point, everyone, excluding the Eagles, really are going to play tough games. I mean, are going to play bad teams. But I mean, that's true. But I would say, but also, again, teams can double. Like, why more teams don't double? Everyone wants to run this too high, because it's a copycat league. But like, I don't know, man. I'm letting Brandon Cooks and what's his name, Jalen Tolbert and Michael Gallup. I'm letting them beat me. Like for whatever reason, the Cowboys can't run the ball with Tony Pollard, so that's not really scaring me too much. But I'm doubling CeeDee Lamb. Like you're not. I'm not just gonna let you get 9 catches for 110 yards every game.
Well, for me to, I, I gave CeeDee Lamb a nominee because he definitely deserves a nominee. I
Okay.
think he
Okay.
should be the one. I
Okay.
think AJ Brown is better than him, and it has to had a better year overall. Even though he had these quiet games, I mean, he is that dominant. He's just an overall better receiver. I mean, he's bigger, he's faster, he can catch better, he's good at
I
deep
think
ball.
they're different. They're very different receivers.
They're
It
very
depends
different
who you
receivers, but I think he's better. The test to me will be the Christmas Eve game when they face Dolphins in Miami, because there's gonna be one guy on that sideline that's gonna be on him every snap. If he has a great game against Jalen Ramsey, and we all know who I'm talking about, then
want.
I would say okay, okay.
Okay.
But but to me, he hasn't faced anyone, and the secondaries have been atrocious. When he faces the Dolphins, and he has to go against Jalen Ramsey, we'll see how the rest of the guys on defense do, because if they end up getting blown out because you know whatever, I don't know, they'll find a way. But and then they face the Lions. I think the Lions secondary should be better. CJ Garner should be back by that
Yeah.
game, December 30th.
So okay, I feel what you're saying. I'm going with CD as my pick. Also in that conversation is I'm putting Puka Nakua. He's cooled off as not in the conversation. Like after CD, AGB, and Mike Evans, he's my fourth. He he been good. He had over 100 yards last game, and he got injured.
I mean, I would take Devontae Smith before I take Puka Nakua.
Man, Puka, man, he was setting records, rookie records, early in the season.
I take Austin St. Brown.
I mean, he's probably a better. Man,
Brandon
Puka's pretty nice, man.
Brandon Ayuk.
I would take Brandon Ayuk actually. Yeah, I think Brandon. I'll put Brandon Ayuk over him.
Him
I
for
think Brandon
that conversation.
Puka
Puka
nice, man.
had a great season for a rookie, and he has a very unique name. And I think without the name Puka, he probably wouldn't even made the roster. So I think his name definitely helps, sort of stay in people's minds. But he's not in the not in the,
I
he's
just
not.
want to give him some love, man. I just want to show him some love.
Yeah, shout out to Puka. We're just gonna give
Yeah,
a
shout
shout
out to Puka, man.
out.
All
Shout
right,
out.
so for me at running back CMC, I mean, I don't even really feel like, I mean, I don't really need no conversation too much. Like he's been incredible. Um, so yeah, that's. I mean, I feel like it'd be a better conversation for second place. Um, as far as quarterback, I mean, it really does come down between Dak and Jalen. But I'm gonna go. Ah, man, I'm gonna go Dak, man. I'm gonna go Dak, bro. I know that's not what you want to hear, but he has been hot of late. And as soon as I start giving Dak praise, he's gonna go out there and lay an egg or something. You know, Jalen has like been like he's a winner. One thing, okay, I will say this though about Jalen. He knows how like in close games, he makes plays. Like he's very cerebral. Like he does not get rattled. He is a winner. Like he has a lot of poise. Like he has a lot of his intent. You can see his intangibles, you know. So I trust him in big games. I trust him late in games. I trust him as a leader, as a quarterback. All those things I don't necessarily think about Dak, but Dak's been hot as of late, you know. So I'm gonna give it to Dak, but Jalen is a strong number two. So that's who I've got. So that's everything, all the conversations I had. Is there anything else you wanted to mention, bring up, discuss?
Um, I wanted to do the picks for next week,
Oh, bet.
but
Okay.
let me charge this up. So I'm gonna go in my room because this my laptop is dying.
All right. So while you're doing that, I will pull the schedule up. Um, so I got the schedule. So I'll just go over the games while you getting set up. So tomorrow night is the Patriots and the Steelers in Pittsburgh. We have the Buccaneers in Atlanta. Detroit versus Chicago in Chicago. The Colts versus the Bengals. Jacksonville versus Cleveland. The Panthers versus the Saints. The Texans versus the Jets. The Rams versus the Ravens. The Vikings versus the Raiders. The Seahawks versus the 49ers. The Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs, uh, Denver versus the Chargers. On Sunday Night Football, the Eagles versus the Dallas versus the Cowboys. On Monday night, we actually have two games at the same time: Tennessee versus Miami and Green Bay versus New York. Now, why there are two games at the same time, that is kind of lost on me. On bye week are the Cardinals and the Commanders.
Wait, can you pause it for a second?
Yeah, we're gonna go on commercial break. We are back off a commercial break. We are gonna do our week 14 picks. Do you want me to give you the teams? What's up?
Yep.
All right. So the Thursday night game, we got the Patriots and the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Who you got?
Patriots are not winning another game. They're not winning another game. They're just
Hey, I'm with you, yo.
they don't have.
Uh, I think it's gonna be a terrible game. This game, Kenny Pickett's not playing, so we got we got Mitch Trubisky back in there. The Patriots, I don't even know who they're gonna have. Bailey Zappabe starting. I'm not even sure.
I mean, he's not. I mean, he's bad, but I mean, they're
That
they're
offense
they're,
is terrible, man.
they're just not good.
And you know, Ramondre Stevenson is out.
It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter, but I mean, this game, like Thursday night games, especially at this point of the year, are already like pretty iffy. I mean, this could be one of the worst games of the season. Even that Giants Jets game, at least that game was funny. Like this just might be like some really, really, really bad football. But I'm with you. I think the Steelers are going to win an ugly game. I'm not sure if the Steelers are gonna break. I'm not the Steelers. The Patriots are going to break double digit points. Because the Chargers defense is absolutely awful. So I don't know if yeah, I'm with you. I think the Steelers are gonna win maybe like I don't know, maybe like 17-6, 17-3. But it's a really bad game.
Two bad teams.
Yeah, two really bad teams. I mean, the Steelers, they're not as good as their record says. Um, so the next game, let me put the schedule back up. Bucks and Falcons.
Falcons, big game. Playoff implications. Bucks can't lose that game. Um, Falcons are at home. For some reason, they are better at home. And Desmond Ritter has a good record at home. I mean, at one point he was undefeated. Um, um, Bucks really need that game. I'm gonna say that the Falcons win because they've been up and down. They've been a roller coaster team. The Bucks have been consistently losing more than being able to find ways to win games.
Uh-huh.
That's probably gonna be a close game,
Yeah.
probably a 3 point type of game. And I also trust the kicking game for the Falcons. I voted for the kicker. I forgot his name. Dude, I voted for him for the Pro Bowl. And yeah, I'm gonna go with the Falcons in that one. 3 point game.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I agree it's gonna be a 3 point game. I think this game could go either way. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I trust their offense a little bit more. Simply because I just really don't like Arthur Smith as a head coach. Um, I just don't like how he utilizes or underutilizes his players. So I this is I just think that the Bucks. I mean, I'm not Todd Bowles. I'm not super high on him, but he's at least not gonna like do some stupid shit. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks, but I agree. I think this is gonna be a very close game down to the wire. Probably come down to kicking, and really even like what quarterback maybe makes the least mistakes,
Yeah,
possibly. Next game we got the Lions and the Bears in Chicago.
Lions and Bears. The Bears need to keep losing. They need to lose, but have Justin Fields play well because they need to be able to trade him. I would hope whoever has that number 2 pick needs a quarterback, and they can trade Justin Fields for that number 2 pick, so they can draft uh, Caleb and Marvin Harrison.
See,
So
I doubt that the Bears are thinking about that. They're
they need
trying to
to.
probably, yeah, I mean,
They need to. They need
you
to
know, but
because they
the
got
players, the
they
players,
well,
they're out there like trying to win every game.
well, they can try to win every game, but they know that the Panthers is going to keep losing because they're not in every game, and so they're going to have that number 1 pick. Um, so they know that if Justin Fields plays well, his trade value is up. If he doesn't play well, trade value is down, and you're gonna have to trade him and not get as much for him. They should lose. I mean, they're facing the Lions. The Lions is trying to get to this number 1 seed. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. The offense is unstoppable. Their defense is not that good, but they also have injuries. And CJ
Mhm.
is going to come back, and we know he likes to talk. So we'll see how that goes once he comes back. Yeah, Lions. Easy. It should be an easy victory.
Well, I agree about the Lions. The Bears did play really well. They ended up losing, let them come back. So divisional games can be weird, but I'm gonna go with the Lions. But also, like Justin Fields playing wet, like just you want him to play well to increase his stock, but he has to try to win. So like if he's losing a bunch of games, he's probably playing bad. So I mean, theoretically, he could play well and them still lose.
Well, he's
But
also when games are close, he's also throwing picks at the end of games. Like he's done that so many times, like this year and last year, where the games are close, he's playing
yeah,
well. I mean,
well,
he
you
do
need him to stop doing that for him to have high trade value because he keeps doing that. I mean, I wouldn't trade for him, or at least not much. So they kind of need him to probably win some games or to play well because that defense has been better as of late. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I thought this was going to be like a historically bad defense, but they've gotten a lot better as of late.
yeah, they have.
So, that's one thing. They're not a laughing stock anymore, or the
No.
Bears as a team. But I agree with you. I think the Lions are just too complete. That defense, they started off really good. And I'll give you credit that you said that you weren't that high on that defense. They were playing well early in the season, but last 6 to 8 weeks they've kind of declined.
Mm.
Um, and it's mainly just rushing the quarterback and stopping the run. And I feel like if you can't stop the run, that puts pressure even on a good secondary. And especially if you can't get great pass rush. So, but they still should win this game. Chicago's kind of a mess. So we agree there. Next game, we got the Colts and the Bengals. Two backup quarterbacks.
Colts and the Bengals, both teams in playoff contention. Bengals won a tough game yesterday. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I saw they won in overtime. And Browning is not a bad quarterback. They still got everyone else, just don't have Joe Burrow. So, theory, they are still a better team. They should win the game. Um, Colts have they've been holding up there in the bargain. I think they faced some bad teams too, and they've kind of got lucked out. They also snuck they snuck a couple wins. They snuck a couple game against the Ravens and I think the Texans early too. So they're due to fall apart. They're
Man,
gonna
I'm
lose.
with you. The Colts,
They're gonna
the
lose.
Bengals, they adjusted the offense. They were still playing like a Joe Burrow type offense, but I'm not sure if you saw that Monday night game, but they adjusted and they played I guess, a style of play that is more conducive to Jake Browning style, and he looked good. I mean, he played really well. So I mean, they didn't look bad. Now the Jaguars defense, not super high on them, but I don't know if the Colts defense is much better. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Like, I don't expect Jake Browning. I think he went like 29 to 32 or something. I don't expect that again. Something crazy. I don't expect that again. But and I think they took the best shot from the Jaguars. So I think they try to salvage this season, and I think they get a win and they go 7-6.
Yep.
I think that's their record. Let me make sure. I think they're
They're
6-6.
6-6. Yep.
Yeah. So next we have the Panthers and the Saints.
Saints. I mean, they're both bad, but Panthers they can't buy a win. No matter how much money they got, they can't buy a win.
I'm with you. It sucks, but yeah, I'm with
I
you.
wouldn't be
Well,
surprised if they win, but I think also with them being as bad as they are, knowing that they have the number one pick, but they don't get the number one pick is a horrible feeling. So they, winning, I think they want to at least win
Yeah,
because losing doesn't do them any good. But they're just so bad, and they don't have an offense, man. What's his name? Frank Wright got the burn for it. I told you before the season that I didn't think he was the right coach.
yeah.
Um, they all need to get fired. I mean,
All of them?
everybody. I mean, Brian Burns. They just need to keep the secondary and just clean house on everything else. Like I know Shaq Thompson's been there since Luke Kuechly was there, and he
Yeah,
never retired. Feel like 5 years ago. He got to go. Uh, uh, who's the defensive tackle? Derek Brown, gotta
yeah.
go.
He's
Uh,
having a good season though.
gotta go. Uh, everyone gotta go. Um, they're just a bad team, man. The
Yeah, that
Saints.
offense.
I don't know who started. I don't know if Jameis starts, you got a chance because he Jameis. That's the only chance I got is if Jameis starts, or for whatever reason they put him in, or Derek Carr goes down again, and he has to play. That's really the Panthers' chance. I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but Saints win another ugly game.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the opposite. I think Derek Carr gives us the better chance, just because he doesn't make plays. Jameis, he'll keep you in the game, but he can also win a game too, just because he'll make plays. Derek Carr. Now, if we want to talk about stealing money, that contract. I mean, he's stealing money, man. He's making like 145, I think, 145 million. I mean, that's ridiculous for a quarterback like who just not doing anything. Like he's just unproductive. And I mean, I was never that high on him, but the Saints don't have a bad roster. That defense is solid. They have pieces, and that offense, Chris Olave is a very good receiver. Michael Thomas is hurt right now, but even if you can get a little bit out of him, he's still a productive wide receiver. Taysom Hill obviously can put him all over the field. Kamara, one of the best dual threat running backs, in my opinion, of all time. Just not best running back, but just like his level as a pass catcher and what he can do as a runner, like just dual threat. Jawan Johnson is, solid. They have a good off, like they have pieces, and Derek Carr is just holding them back, you know? And so not to like go over like old conversations, but this is why I say Brock Purdy is good to me because not comparing San Francisco clearly has a better offense, but on paper, the Saints should be running away with this division. They have pieces, they have a veteran quarterback, but he's holding them back. He's not making plays. He has Dennis Allen, is not a bad play caller. I feel like he does some of the same things that Sean Payton did, not to the same degree. But this is why I'm giving Brock Purdy credit, is because Derek Carr is supposed to step in and take the Saints to the next level. They should not be struggling for this division. They should not be under 500 in a bad division, but yet they are. He's not getting his playmakers the ball. They're struggling. Him and Chris Olave have not been on the same page. They're using Taysom Hill they're using a gadget player is kind of like is a big part of their offense. That shouldn't be the case. But I feel like Derek Carr cannot make plays. And that's why I say that if it was that easy that you just need great players and just put any quarterback behind there and have a great offense, I feel like Derek Carr is a great example of like, nah, that's not the case. And Derek Carr put up numbers at times in and when they were Oakland and later Vegas. But I don't know. So that's not to like kind of like beat a dead horse, but I just feel like Derek Carr is really like underperforming, and I just don't think it's that easy just like putting anyone back there. Shit, even Jared Goff at times, like when the Lions lose, it's because he's playing like shit. So that's just me on my soapbox. But I say all that to say, regardless if it's the Derek Carr, if it's Jameis, the Panthers are terrible. They have no offensive identity. They can't do anything. No one scares them. Chuba Hubbard is had a good game, but the Saints should win. So that's my little soapbox. Next game we got the Texans and the Jets.
Jets is gonna lose. Jets are just as bad as the Patriots and the Panthers. Their coach should get fired. He's not gonna get fired mid-season because it'd just be too much drama, as if they don't need it anymore to put in headlines. But this team that doesn't have a coach. They have a good defense, and they have a good running back and they have a good receiver, and
Hmm.
that's it. And they don't have a leader on that team that's loud enough to
Yeah.
control. Arbasal is a puppet to I don't even know who because the it's not like the Jets have it's not like the Jets have like a Jerry Jones type of owner. I mean, there's no owner that's like sitting there making headlines every day for saying something. I mean, it's just he's like it seems like he's like a puppet to the media. It's like whatever the media is saying is like he's rolling with it. I don't get it. They suck, and the Texans is just a better team. They got a quarterback, and D'Amico Ryans was in the same position that Robert Saleh was in. He took the better job, and he did the better decision, both being defensive coaches and working the defenses, but having a quarterback is what you need. And Robert Saleh has no idea what he's doing. And he did. I can't even look at him in the face, and it bothers me that the Eagles did lose to this. So I'm not necessarily better, but it's just like it's just they're just a bad team. Texans
I
should be to win the game. I don't think it would be pretty because their defense is good, but Texans should win the game.
Yeah, I mean, at this, I mean, I ditto. I mean, I'm probably much higher on Robert Sala than you are, Sala
Oh,
than you are.
mm.
But the Jets are a bad team and they're reeling. I feel like early in the year they were fighting, but I just feel like, I mean, really, all you got to do is score 13 points and you can win, and that's too much to
Three.
overcome. I mean,
You put it
sometimes, yeah. I
Sunday.
mean, shit, they scored 8 points, I think, against the Falcons, and two of those were a safety. Um, so really, they scored 6 points. So that offense is bad. Um, Zach Wilson doesn't want to be out there, so they're a mess.
It,
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, C.J. Stroud is should be unanimously be the rookie of the year. So yeah, they're gonna win that game pretty easily. Next game probably a bit more competitive. We have the Rams and the Ravens.
the Ravens is gonna win, but for me, the Ravens haven't faced anybody all year, and when they have faced somebody, it's been in Baltimore where they've gotten to these big leads and
Yeah,
things kind of bounce their way. I don't really believe in the Ravens like that. Um, the Rams to me are better than they have shown, but I think that they've overachieved at the same time. I mean, they don't have
mm,
a tight end. They got Cooper Cup can't stay healthy. Kyron Williams is having a breakout year. Defense is not good. I mean, their secondary is horrible. They got Aaron Donald, so it was still respectable, but I mean, there's only so much he can do. They don't have anybody on defense. It's just young. Like for some reason, when they have young defenses, they like to like have high hopes for them. So they say that they're young and fast. Well, they got a rookie that's really good. I think his name is Bryce Young or Byron Young. He's
I think it's
really
Brock Young.
yeah, he's really good. Really fast. Edge rusher and linebacker or whatever. But no, I mean it's just not enough.
I'm with you. Like, yeah, people will say they're young and fast, but you have to be good. I think sometimes people forget football is also a game. And you have to be good at it.
Yeah.
I I know what you mean. That it feels like, well, I guess because coming into this season, it felt like they were almost rebuilding a little bit, and like so I thought they could have been trash, but they drafted very well with Puka, Kyron, Tutu. They drafted very, and honestly, may have even gotten lucky a little bit. If these guys, like, yo, if those guys didn't break out, the Rams are, we're probably talking about them as one of the worst teams in the league. So they're pretty fortunate. So I know what you mean that they are overachieving some, and I think that they have talent. Matthew Stafford has taken a step back. Like he's not really a good quarterback anymore. He's not bad, but
No.
he's just very mediocre. He's very mediocre right now. So they need him to be special. Cooper Cup, the injuries are piling up. It seems like so he's not his dominant self. They're very lucky they had Puka. They did not like that offense would be trash. Kyron Williams is nice. I like him a lot. But no, I'm with you. The Ravens, they did lose to the Browns. That they lost to them. So when they played like the one good team, they lost. I still think Baltimore should win. That offense, I still don't love the passing game, but they're starting to come together. Zay Flowers is making some plays. Odell
He's
is
their one.
what's up?
I think he's their one.
Yeah, he is for sure. Odell. is looks like an NFL player again. Not like he's not a great NFL receiver anymore, but he actually looks like he like should be on a roster and be out there playing.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, Baltimore should win this game. You know, so I'm with you there. Next we have the Vikings in Vegas.
The Vikings in Vegas
The Raiders.
or Raiders.
Yeah.
Um, uh, um, that's a game that is kind of a toss up, I guess.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. I'm gonna go with the Raiders because I think that they have more of a sense of urgency with their coach. Like even like he's a defensive coach, kind of obviously, but I think his attitude is kind of better with their team than the Vikings. It's their Vikings are going off of this. They're trying to ride this Joshua Dobbs, inspirational story that you know is cute and it's fun and I like the no eyebrows and the bald head and I love it all, but it's the Vikings to me are in a really bad spot because they're like in no man's land. They're not good enough to make the Super Bowl, but they're not bad enough to like get a high draft pick or
Mhm.
a trade or something like that to
Mhm.
get a high draft pick or to get someone to come. They're in no man's land. And as much as I think it's kind of a toss-up game, to keep their playoff hopes alive, they should win, but I don't think they will. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
I agree with everything you just said. I'm going with the Raiders. I think that's again a toss-up game, a tough game. I think Antonio Pierce has them believing, and I think they kind of want to salvage their season. And like this is, I think the Raiders are a great example of where I think coaches just overthink things. Like, get your best players the ball. Like
Yeah,
sometimes it's just that simple. Run the ball with Josh Jacobs, throw the ball to Devontae Adams. Like that's very simple, but just like sometimes do that shit. You know, and I feel like Josh. One of the reasons why I was reading some behind the, behind the footage stuff, behind the scenes.
mhm.
Apparently, he was an asshole and a dickhead, and like he just didn't understand like the people aspect. And just I'm watching the Raiders play, and I'm like, yo, what are y'all trying to do? Like sometimes I watch some teams playing, I'm like, what are y'all trying to accomplish? And don't tell me you're just trying to score because that's obvious. Like, but what is your style? What are you trying to do? How are you playing? What is your philosophy? And
Yeah,
I didn't know that with the Raiders. And I was watching them and I would leave games. I'm like, okay, they're not giving Josh Jacobs the ball. Devontae Adams isn't getting the ball. Hunter Renfro is not a part of the offense even anymore, even though a couple years ago he had like over 100 receptions. Like, what are y'all trying to do? I don't know. Antonio Pierce has kind of simplified things. I think at some point he's gonna need. I do think they should bring him back as the head coach, but at some point, they're gonna have to like kind of get like a philosophy and like some more creativity on offense. But I like that he has them competing. So I'm with you on the Vikings too. That they're kind of in a weird spot that they have to. I think they need to get a new quarterback. For sure in the offseason. Like re-signing Kirk doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, because you're not going to make a run with Kirk, but then you're never going to let yourself rebuild. The good thing is that in the NFL, you don't need a number one pick to rebuild. If you draft well enough, that you can rebuild. But I think they need to let go of Kirk. But yeah, I like Josh Dobbs, but he'll make a mistake. He'll make a lot of mistakes. Had 4 interceptions last game, and I think he will give the game away. So I think that Max Crosby is gonna harass him, and I think he'll give the game. Well, he'll have some turnovers. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I mean, no, excuse me. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. Next game we have the Seahawks and the 49ers.
20 minutes. I don't really have much to say. They're a good team. They're,
Yeah, I don't have too much to say either. 49ers, I mean, obvious reasons. Next game, Bills Chiefs.
um, um, Chiefs because for the reasons that I'm going to explain for the Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Andy Reid, but more specifically Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't really lose 2 games in a row. especially when they need to get the win. Like
Mhm.
a back to back, going from the 1 seed to now being 8-5. As bad as the Chiefs' offense is, they're not that bad. They're going to be able to play well against the Bills' offense. But the only thing is that the Bills always end up winning against the Chiefs in the regular season. The last 2 or 3 times they played them, which I think is hilarious. But the Bills also really, really need this win. Um, I think the Bills win this game. I
You
think
think
for
so?
I think for the first time, Mahomes and Andy Reid lose back to back for the first time in a while. um, it's in
It's in Kansas City, I think.
Kansas City.
Uh,
I Let me look at this Bills schedule really quickly. The Bills schedule, they have I know they have the Cowboys after this. Then they have the Chargers, the Patriots, and Dolphins. Okay, they're gonna beat the Chargers and Patriots. Um, they can't go 2-3 and be 8-9 and make the playoffs. They would have to get at
yeah.
least 9. I don't know if they're gonna
It's
be
too
able.
much work.
I don't know if they can beat the Dolphins. I don't know if I think they can beat the Cowboys next week.
Mhm.
That would give them, but then I'll be 10-11. Let's see if they, well, no, if they're at 6, if they lead 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 wins, and they go 10-7.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Bills have the offense to do it.
I think
I
they
think
have the
it's a good
offense.
game.
I think they have the offense to do it, but they've lost so much on defense.
When
Like,
Buffalo is back, he's just not playing well.
well, they just
Maybe this bye week gives them like the resurgence, like that break that they needed to go on his run. And Josh Allen, and they showed me a lot in that, not just in the Eagles game, but the week before that too, when their ability to run the ball, I think is huge now. Because I mean, I don't know if they're gonna be able to run the ball against the Chiefs, but I think that's gonna be just a tough game. Both teams need the victory, and I think the same things that kind of happened to the Eagles with the Chiefs is what happened to the Bills for the Chiefs. So I'm gonna go with the Bills.
well, I think this is going to be a defining moment for Josh Allen. Like, is he going to be able to carry the team? Because he might got to put them on his back a little bit. I do think the Bills need to run the ball more. I don't get why they always go away from the running game. Like when the Chiefs look like underperform, it's because they only gave their running back 5 carries, and Josh Allen ran the ball like 10 times. So I think that they need Josh Allen to play well and carry them, but they still need to utilize their running backs. You
Yeah.
know, don't just try to have don't abandon the running game. So whew, I'm gonna pick the Bills too. I
Yeah.
think that Kansas City is as beatable as they've ever been. Like Patrick Mahomes is that dude. Like I don't think that anyone will hold this against him. But you need help. You need help, and they just easy to defend. Travis Kelsey is still a very, very, very good player, but I think that he's taken a step back. I think
I think
just
I
the
don't
injuries and age.
I think it's age. I think he can't just be completely dominant. I mean, people just expect him to be so dominant forever. I mean, he can't.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still good. I mean, it was one game last year where he had what 4 touchdown passes, and they were
yeah,
all in the red zone. So it's
yeah,
like, he's still effective. So I mean, it's just not going to look great with the stats right now.
yeah. Don't get me wrong; he's still a great player, but like he was dominant last year. He was just straight up dominant, and I just think that it's asking a lot with like when you're the only person that can consistently get open and to still be dominant. Like that's just asking a lot. And for a tight end, and just had a lot of injuries. So I think it's just asking a lot. So I'm with you. I'm gonna go Buffalo, but I think it's gonna be a tough game because both teams need it. Next game we got Denver and the Chargers.
um, unfortunately, the Broncos, I think, is going to give this game away because I don't think the Chargers are doing this game. I think the Chargers suck, but um, they're going to stay in the mix. I don't think Denver's is like just a lock to be one of those playoff teams, and I think they're all going to be in a dogfight towards the end.
Mhm.
So I think the Chargers find a way to win that game.
I'm in agreement. I think they do. The only way they will win is Denver's going to have to give it away because the Chargers can't go. They just seem incapable of going down and just winning a game on their own. Like if it's close, they just have to be giving it to them. But I think that Russell Wilson will make some mistakes. He has played a lot better than he has last year, but he will make some mistakes. That last interception at the end of the game wasn't really his fault. He had to force it. But yeah, I'm with you. They're not a
Broncos
good
can't
team
score
though.
enough points. They just
You
can't
said
score.
what?
The Broncos can't score enough points to beat the Chargers. I mean,
They
Justin Herbert, without any help from his coach, because he will hold them back, can score enough points to beat the Broncos.
Yeah, and the Broncos, they're just not a good roster, man. I think they're well coached. I think Russell Wilson has shown that he's still an NFL quarterback, but Javante Williams coming off the ACL, Cortland Sutton like just does not like move the needle for me. That tight end Greg Docic, he had a good season last year, but he's not like no top flight tight end. And then after Cortland Sutton, I mean Jerry Judy, is he hurt?
He's just not good.
Like, yo, is he not producing at all? Like, is he?
He's too busy trying to argue with Steve Smith.
I forgot about that. Like, yo, like I just forget. Like, I legit thought he's been injured, but
Even if he has, he's not good.
yeah, he's just not good. So you got him. So they're just not a good offense. They honestly, that's another team that they might need to just like start over offensively. Just maybe like with Javante Williams because I think he can be good. But just like rebuild that offense. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Denver can score enough points against like Denver. Well, the Chargers do have a bad defense, but I don't think that they have talent, so I think that they can get it done. Let me go back to the schedule. Next game we have. Hold on, let me go back to the NFL schedule, not the Broncos. Uh, okay, so the Sunday night game, Philly and Dallas.
I don't really want to stay long on this because
Yeah,
um, it's still very early.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, the Cowboys got their winning streak in Dallas. They're rolling because they're facing no opponents at all, and they're also getting breaks because they're playing on Thursday every damn week, so they're getting extra days to rest. Um, Eagles are going to be in another dogfight. Luckily, and I'm actually kind of glad that they got their ass whooped. Although I don't really like the fact that I heard that most of the starters on offense were still playing it towards the end of the game.
Didn't
Um,
get that. Yeah.
um, it would help to make a statement in this game. I think the Eagles need to make a statement. I do believe that I'm trying. It's more like foreshadowing for me. So I feel like if the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles were to win this game, I don't think they're going to face them a third time in the playoffs. But if they
Mm-hmm.
were to lose this game, I think it's more likely that they will face them a third time
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs, and then that will decide who really is
Mm-hmm.
the team. Because I do think that the Eagles are the better team, but I do feel why people would feel the Cowboys are a better team, and I would understand why
Mm-hmm.
the Eagles should be a little bit in panic mode right now. Um, so albeit being 10-2 and best record in the NFL up to this point, being the best record for now 31 consecutive weeks or 32 consecutive, whatever they're saying it is. I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win this game because they're the better team and and Jalen Hurts is gonna show up. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys blew them out.
I would.
Because
I'd be
well,
surprised about that.
I wouldn't be surprised because they can easily pass the ball happy again, like they did Dak has always historically played well in the pass game, and the Eagles. I think the Eagles are very tired. When I see the Eagles, I think the Eagles are trying to just get through this and like just make it towards the end to try to finish this job to get back to the Super Bowl. But they look tired to me. And the more these games keep going on and they keep getting these dog fights and these other teams are having rests, those extra couple days matter. And the Cowboys also having all these damn blowouts where they're resting guys throughout the season because 4 quarters they ain't got to really play anybody. So it's a lot of rest and stuff that I think it matters in a game like this, where it is going to be a game of inches. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys won the game outright. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys blew them out. I would be surprised if it was a close win and the Cowboys won. I would be surprised about that because I'll be. It's like if the Eagles going to be in a close game, why give it up? And now you 10-3 and can
Mhm.
go. So I'm going to say Eagles and sort of a decisive victory, sort of like they were clearly the better team, throughout that game, type of thing.
See, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say I think the Cowboys, not decisive though, but I think it's gonna be a close game. I think just because y'all in a rough stretch right now, DeAndre Swift, he wasn't on the injury report today, but I think this is just a tough stretch, and I think this is going to be a close game, and I think that Dallas stops the run. I think they do a good job. I think they're going to stop the run. I think Jalen's going to have a good game. I think both quarterbacks are going to play well. Um, but I just think that Philly's like that secondary is just struggling, and I think Dak is hot right now, and I think that I think he might pick y'all apart a little bit. Um, so I think that he's going to have a big game, and I think that he gets a signature win, probably one of the biggest wins of his career. So what? This would be, bro. It would be. If he dog, if they won, this would probably be one of the biggest wins of his career. If he does.
Well, I think the difference in this game between last game is after the bye week. I think the Eagles figured something out. And one thing I didn't even realize, and I didn't even notice it until the Chiefs game, and he's had a good game. Bradley Roby. Um, they picked him up off the street, and he took him a couple games, but like he really showed up in that Chiefs game. That strip that he did on Travis Kelsey, that reminded me of like Saints Bradley Roby, and that's where he was last year, where that physical style of defense, he clearly has
Mhm.
ball hawk mindset. He's just a little up in age now, so he's like just not that fast. He can give up big deep like he almost did um in the Bills game. Um um so I think that the secondary is going to play better this time around because they're not going to have Eli Ricks constantly on Darius Slay. I mean, on CD Lamb, and there's a chance that Darius Slay might um, travel with him for a little bit. But also, I think one thing that the Eagles need to start thinking about doing, especially if they keep struggling with the secondary, is they did it once Avonte Maddox got hurt. Was they tried putting James Bradbury in the slot? They put him in the slot, and that I guess they felt like that didn't work out or he didn't feel comfortable. They after that last they did it for one game and then they didn't do it again. Um, they may need to think about doing that again, putting him in the slot and the thing is he don't have anybody in the outside. I mean, Roby would have to. Well, yeah, Roby's gonna have to be that guy in the slot, but I think it's gonna be a different game for Dak. I don't think Dak is gonna be throwing the ball like a party like he did last time. I think the secondary, I think it's always good whenever a team loses and they play a game where they lose and they play bad on defense because they always come back the next week and they play
True.
better. Even look at the Broncos. When they get 70 points, they've been damn near solid ever since.
Hmm.
Um,
That's crazy. They gave up 70.
yeah. So yeah, I think the Eagles win that game. But yeah, it would be if there's any decisive victory, I do think that it will be a blowout from the Cowboys where like it's just nothing's happening. Play calling is atrocious, and you know I don't know. I
No,
don't know.
I'm okay. I feel you. I do think that the Cowboys need to run the ball better. at some point. That would definitely ease things open. But I think it's going to be a competitive game. But moving on to the Monday night games, to where there's two, we have Tennessee and Miami.
Tennessee, Miami. I mean, Miami's gonna win right now at this point for Miami. That's a game more of like how many yards can we try to get Tyreek Hill to not have this come down to the last game of the season.
Yeah,
This is a stat pattern game. Speaking of stat pattern, this is a stat pattern game for the Dolphins. They're gonna be able to run the ball. They got two-headed monster that can run the ball for 70, 90 yards in one snap. They got two
yeah,
receivers who catch it on 2 yards and take it 90 yards. They're gonna win the game. Defense, Jalen Ramsey's back. He started from the beginning of the season. He might have been defensive player of the year nominee. Um, Especially now with
yeah,
Ross. But yeah, Dolphins, easy victory.
yeah. I mean, I don't really feel like there's too much that needs to be added. I just don't think Tennessee can score enough.
No,
Simple as enough. I mean, Will Levis, he showed me a couple things that maybe that he could be the quarterback, that maybe he could be a productive quarterback with a full off like a full season. But right now they're a team kind of in a weird spot that Derrick Henry is future Hall of Famer, but they've had the offense built around him. But at some point they're gonna have to shift that focus and they're gonna have to change their philosophy. DeAndre Hopkins, is just kind of average now. Some of that could be quarterback play. I do like their defense. Well, no, I like their run defense. The run defense is pretty good, but I just think that Miami put so much pressure on them that they're not a regular, like you can't defend them the way you would any other team. So even though they have a pretty good run D, I think that just all the speed, all the angles, all the misdirection, all the motion, it just puts too much pressure on them. And I mean, I just don't think Miami's going to have to. I don't even think Miami has to even particularly play that well to win, and they should win.
it
Um,
could be an ugly game, and it's not the quarterback. It's DeAndre. DeAndre's is not the same. I mean, there's a
yeah,
reason why it took a while for him to sign with a team.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
he's just not the same anymore.
yeah. I'm with you. That's a good point. That like a
He
marquee receiver would
he's
be
always
taken off.
had he's always been able to do work with any quarterback he's had. That's what he's always been known for is
Yeah,
he puts up stats no matter who's the quarterback. So
yeah,
he's not the same. And it's
yeah,
also not the same when he's up in age and they don't have another receiver. So they're just guarding him. I mean, who else is gonna get open?
yeah. And they also like they don't run the ball as well to where they're getting a lot of one on one. So it's just this offense is just taking a step back. Never should have traded AJ Brown. I mean, I know you're happy, but they just never should have done that. That was a mistake. This offense would look a lot different. Okay, so now the final game on this week's slate, we have the Green Bay Packers who are going to Meadowland to play the New York Giants.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Giants are feeling themselves right now because they're in New York itself. You know, New York is all in the sauce of DeVito, Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito, the song. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is. Um, the Packers they played well the last two games. They played well on Thanksgiving. They beat the Rams. They beat the Chiefs. Those are two really good teams. So facing a team like the Giants should be easy, but um, Giants got this weird thing where like as bad as they've been all season, they still have I think a good coach in Brian Dable, and they have Kayvon Thibodeau who's quietly having a really good season,
Mm-hmm.
and he's known for getting off the edge really quickly. He's doing that this year. So he's kind of like checking right now. He's kind of reaching the peak. He'll probably be better. Dexter Lawrence, they can I like some of the things they have on defense. Jordan Love is up and down.
Yeah,
One day he's excellent. One day, next day he's not good. And Giants, don't the Giants and Jets they share the same field, right?
I think so.
Yeah, the field is horrible. So yeah, whenever you're playing in MetLife Stadium, you just never really know because the field is so damn bad. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like. If it turns into a running game type of thing, then I think the Packers have a better shot. Um, I'm going to say the Packers win, but I think it's a close game.
Um, I think the Giant, I think the Packers are going to win. I don't know if it's going to be particularly close, but I don't think the offense is going to be as fluid as they were against the Chiefs. The Giants pass rush, they not bad. They have Dexter Lawrence. I think his name. Oh my God, they have someone else. Is it they have Thibodeau? I think he's the linebacker, and they have someone else on the line who is having a pretty good season. But their pass rushers are not bad, so
And
they can.
Bobby Okofe is leading the tackles.
They have maybe it is him, and
Yeah,
then Dexter.
he's a middle linebacker. He's having a great season, Pro Bowl year, and they had traded for Isaiah Simmons. So they got
Mhm.
those as a he's a hybrid linebacker safety.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
got
both Clemson, right? He went to Clemson, right?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
but
So yeah, I think the defense can kind of like put some have Jordan Love under some duress, and then just put some pressure on him. Might make some mistakes, but just the offense won't be as fluid. Aaron Jones may not play. I'm not sure how much they need him, but he may not play. He has a sprained MCL.
I think they would need him for this game.
You think so? See, I don't know. I just don't. The reason why Tommy DeVito, I'm not sure why Giants fans are feeling themselves. He's not that good. I mean, he is not. He's just not that good. Now the offense is pretty bad. So I'm not gonna like knock him, but there's no reason for them to be feeling themselves. If they get this win, then yeah, they have something more to believe in because I think the Packers are trending up. Jordan Love is hot, but I just don't think the Giants just have a bad offense. They just have a really bad offense. They can't score. He did look good against Washington, but Washington has a bad defense, you know? Um, so yeah, so I think that the Packers should get this win. Maybe a game like, I don't know, 23-13 or something. Like not like a blowout, but I think that, I think the Giants will keep it relatively competitive.
That's a lot of points.
You think so? That's too many points?
That's a lot of points for the Packers. I don't think they're going to score 28. I know they just scored
No,
27.
I'm sorry, 23, 23,
Oh,
23-13.
that still feels like a lot of points.
What you think? They're gonna have like in the teens?
Well, I mean, look, I don't know what they did to the Chiefs to where they gave up 27 on the Chiefs, and the Eagles only gave up 21 when they scored 21. I don't know what the Packers did to get to make score that many points. I know Patrick Mahomes threw a bad interception. That's what,
Mhm.
but that's a lot of points. I would say the score. I see the score being more like if I'm gonna give them 20, I'd say like a 16-20.
Oh wow. Okay. So a really competitive game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. I definitely
Okay.
think that field is horrible. You can't if you're away if you're an away team going on that field and you are get your feet on that turf, you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't feel comfortable. And the Tommy DeVito thing is a real thing, unfortunately. He's playing with confidence right now. What they, how the NFL likes to ride with these waves. The Dobbs
Mhm.
thing fell off. They need a new one. Now it's DeVito. It's DeVito.
Yeah, they
So
thought they had it with that backup for Chicago, Tyson Bagent.
yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, good
We'll
save though.
see if he gets this win. I mean, and if he plays well, then maybe it might be something.
Yeah, I mean, look, right now, I think their defense is playing a lot better, and as long as they keep Saquon Barkley in the offense, then
Yeah, yeah.
they can do some things.
Word. Well, listen, that's everything that I have. Do you have anything else?
Um, no, I think that's basically it. I mean, we basically said everything it is. I mean, I didn't mention too much about the Shaq Leonard too much signing. I know he was picked between the Cowboys and the Eagles, and
Mhm.
you know he chose the Eagles. I don't know how much. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. I don't know. I don't really have too many high expectations. I know that they announced the Pro Bowl leaders at least for now, and two is leading all of the Pro Bowls right now. And CJ Stroud is second, Christian McCaffrey's third, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey are in the top five. I think it's interesting that Jalen Hurts is not in there. And I think it's very, very interesting that Tua is number one because I don't get it. I like Tua. Why is he number one? I don't know. Why don't they want to have I'm not saying Jalen has to be the number one vote getter. I don't think he should be the number one vote getter, but I mean, I don't think Tua should be over Patrick Mahomes. But other than that,
Tua's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's kind of wild. I don't get that.
yeah. But other than that, no, that's all I got. Everything else seems on point. We'll see how this week turns out.
Word, word. Well, listen, thank you for having me. Again, this is my boy Josh. This is week 14 edition of Crazy Scary Cool. Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Thank y'all. Hope y'all enjoy this tomorrow's game and this weekend football, and hope y'all have a great day.